The latest Halo Infinite news comes as a big leadership shakeup at the company. Bonnie Ross stepping down, as well as other leadership positions changing and expanding. What does this mean for the future of Halo Infinite? I'm going to break down all of the information right here at the beginning of the video. It is a longer video because it's a live stream. If you want to be here for the live discussions, make sure and hit subscribe and the bell button. That way you don't miss my streams. And I put these very quick updates so that way you don't have to go searching for everything. This is a Reforge update. Halo Infinite is having a huge leadership shakeup with Bonnie Ross stepping down as well as other people being put into positions. What does this all mean? What exactly was stated? And what does this mean for the future of Halo Infinite? As always, if you like these quick updates, hit subscribe and the bell button and check out Reforge Gaming where I stream live. I want to cover Bonnie Ross stepping down, the leadership being restructured, and what exactly do we think this is going to do to the franchise itself. Now, there is speculation surrounding her stepping down. I'm not interested in doing that. I am going to analyze the different announcements and how there is different verbiage and, how it was seemingly a planned exit, but I am not interested in speculating on whether or not she's telling the truth about this. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's going to achieve anything. So, what was stated? WindowsCentral.com says industry and Microsoft veteran Bonnie Ross is announcing her retirement today with an intent to focus on family as 343 Industries moves to restructure its leadership roles. Now, you might be like, who is Bonnie Ross? She was essentially the head of the franchise. She was the head of 343 and in charge of essentially everything concerning Halo Infinite. According to this report, she's been within Microsoft Games business for the best part of 3 decades, working on franchises like Gears of War, Alan Wake, and even third-party publishing deals like Jade Empire and Mass Effect. Most famously, she took the reins of 343 Industries after pitching her vision for Halo against a Microsoft corporate climate that felt as though the franchise was in decline. So, at this point, I think that's one of the most insightful things about this report is that she basically pitched her vision for Halo and Microsoft corporate wasn't confident in the IP any longer. Now, before she went to 343, she worked on things like Halo 3, ODST, Halo Reach, Halo Anniversary, Halo Spartan Assault Strike, and Halo Wars 2. So, before they sort of put her over 343, she had a lot of experience with the Halo franchise. This is what Microsoft had to say. After more than 28 years in gaming at Microsoft, including 15 years leading 343 Industries and Halo through its most ambitious steps forward, Bonnie Ross will be leaving Microsoft and spending more time with her family. Now, I don't really appreciate that verbiage because that's not what she said. She didn't say she was going to be spending more time with her family. She said, quote, she would be attending to a family medical issue. She also said she had hoped to stay until November, which is right before Season 3 was supposed to start and some pretty big updates for the game. So this was a planned exit, which if it's for a medical issue, it could be very serious. It could be something where, hey, we thought somebody had 6 to 9 months. We were going to have some time with them. That timeline has shifted. That happened recently to somebody in close family to me, and those things can happen very quickly. So I don't think speculating about was her exit planned because of the state of the game. The timing is obviously going to cause people to be skeptical because there was this huge barrage of bad news, which 343 was basically called to be fired, not Bonnie Ross specifically, but people are saying, get 343 off the project. So the timing of her leaving and restructuring leadership certainly will draw skepticism, but the main point is, where is the franchise and the game headed now? It sounds like maybe they were potentially pushing her out and she's choosing to leave for her own reasons, or she anticipated needing to leave for a medical issue and then hoped to make it to November and was unable to. That's not important right now, I don't think. All we know is now there are changes moving forward. Head of production Pierre Hentz will become studio head effective immediately, according to Windows Central. The 343 team is hard at work shipping the winter update, the biggest Halo Infinite update since launch. And who is Pierre? Studio veteran and production lead Pierre Hentz will become studio head of 343 effective immediately, leading the studio's ongoing development development of Halo Infinite and the Master Chief Collection, as well as future games. So they're putting him into a pretty big position here, studio head, not just over Halo Infinite, but over the Master Chief Collection, as well as future Halo titles. There will also be new leadership team changes. The senior leadership team will expand with new roles, including Brian Koski, who will become GM of the franchise, and Elizabeth Van Wyck, who will oversee business and operations. So this is why many people are unclear on the reason for Bonnie's exit, because would you shake up the leadership this severely? Now, some might say yes, you would. Others would say this is a great opportunity to kind of restructure because the game has been having troubles. Bonnie has legitimate reasons to leave. Let's restructure the leadership and get things on a better course. The timing is really difficult to ignore. All of YouTube called for 343 to be fired. I wish her the best. I hope the situation is not dire. I hope it's not a bad situation. Maybe it's something minor. Maybe it's just helping somebody through treatment. Overall, the real question is, will this make the game better? I'm actually doubtful about this. I don't think scapegoating one person is a strong argument. I think that's a weak way to argue, to act like she's the entire problem or she was the cause of all these issues. I think that this game has a very long road to turn things around. The problems seem very deeply rooted. Some of the problems seem to be functioning at an engine level, while others seem to be functioning at a leadership decision-making level, which is related to Bonnie Ross, but it's also related to Microsoft. The fact that when she took over the reins of the franchise and pitched her vision, Microsoft wasn't confident in the thing, in the IP. The corporate at Microsoft was saying, no, we don't think this is a great franchise right now. That could mean that 343 wasn't getting the support they needed all this time, sort of like a, well, prove it to us, make us think that this is worth doing. We also have it on good authority from 343 staff that half the staff was on 18-month contractual attrition during the development of Halo Infinite. That sounds like a corporate-level decision that wasn't backing the franchise or the developers. So hanging that on one person's head, I think, is foolish. As always, let me know what you think in the comments below. Head over to Reforge Gaming, where I stream live, and I'll see you in the next video. And I'll see the rest of you right now. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is obviously a big one. I'm not really familiar with Pierre's background. I'm not really familiar with the other people that were listed. This could essentially be what the franchise needs, fresh leadership. I don't want to focus on Bonnie Ross's exit because that could be considered, I think, pretty uncharitable and pretty crass. It's probably better to focus on, okay, what's the new direction here, all right? We wish her the best. She's out of frame now, right? Go take care of whatever you need to take care of. We don't need to talk about that. What's in frame is we got new leadership. Someone in chat saying that something about Pierre. Where did it go? I wanted to read that. They said something about glad to see Pierre involved. I want to see that comment. I wanted to read it. Yo, I do need to thank Bazikin, the first brand new member of the day. Enjoy your brand new badge, Bazikin or Bazikon. Thank you so much. Appreciate that very, very much. One of the guys taking over is the team leading fixing the Master Chief Collection. Oh, that's Pierre. Is he the one? It looked like somebody said they were glad to see him on it because he had fixed the Master Chief Collection. Lono, Halo lead multiplayer designer leaves in March. Halo lead of design leaves in May. Now head of Halo leaves. Do you think 343 is in trouble? Does Microsoft have any blame in this? Well, that's part of the issue, right? Is how can we blame one person when it seems like Microsoft didn't even believe in the IP, right? A 4-month milestone for Paul. Don't make a girl promise you can't keep. What? Pierre is the lead guy that led the fix of Master Chief Collection, says Doom Reaper. I don't want to scapegoat one person, says Fuzzy. I also want more to go. I keep saying Frank and Kiki next, and I still want that to happen. Bonnie's just one of the problems. I just hope it's still not too late in the day for them to trim the rest of the Verge. I disagree, says MJ Talks. I don't think firing her is going to make the franchise better, but the troops mess up should be blaming on the officer in charge. I do think the franchise should be handled by another studio. At this point, if you're putting your A squad in that fixed other problems, then that gives me hope for Halo Infinite. I still have my own concerns about the engine itself having deeply rooted problems and not being very it sounds like a very cumbersome and slow engine. It sounds difficult for them to get things into a good place. I mean, that's obviously all speculation. We got a tweet here. In regards to Bonnie Ross leaving 343, this is what we need to focus on. Pierre Hintz, who is taking over as studio head of 343, has a lot of experience in the gaming industry and has proven his ability to lead by leading 343's successful journey to fix Halo Master Chief Collection. So they're bringing in the fixer, right? Good starting point for your take. Yo, thank you, Derek. They're bringing in the fixer, right? Ani just renewed their membership. Thank you so much, Ani. Guys, do me a favor. Go through the morning ritual. Make sure you're on live chat so you can see what everybody's saying, and give us a strong start on the like count. We already have 100, so let's shoot for 200. There's enough of you here. There's over 300 of you here already. Strong start with this subject. Bonnie Ross was the head of 343 Industries, so the latest Halo Infinite news is that she is stepping down and leadership is being restructured. As far as I can tell, they're bringing in a fixer. They're bringing in somebody that's known for fixing problems. Pierre Hintz was brought in and has successfully turned around the Halo Master Chief Collection. One of the things that's funny about this is people commonly point to the Halo Master Chief Collection and they say they got so much right there, why'd they get so much wrong in Halo Infinite? So they're probably tapping this guy in the shoulder and saying, go over there and do the same thing. Work your magic, add all of those quality of life improvements and all those good player retention things that you brought to the Master Chief Collection, because, buddy, we need you. Good to see you in the chat feed. They need a fixer to fix old games. Well, the Master Chief Collection wasn't just old games. It was where they introduced a battle pass. It was where they introduced a lot of the replayability structures of making a game feel like it's worth playing, even if it is old, right? Why do you need a fixer for a collection of old games? Well, Eugene, to be fair, like, the fact that they took the Master Chief Collection and got it to a place where the fans praised it and engagement with it went up, I think it is actually a feather in his cap. Taking old games and turning it into a successful live service funnel with a battle pass and praise from the community, that's a massive feather in the guy's cap. Like, think about it. You're talking about somebody who did something that many people wouldn't even want to do. Like, who wants to try to make old games interesting? Who wants to try to make old Halo games worth playing? And he successfully did that. If he can successfully do that, then I'm imagining he could do good things with Halo Infinite. Why was it in that state to begin with? I don't know. It's possible. Again, you have to look at what they said. Bonnie Ross basically convinces them that she can take the reins of Halo as a franchise in 343, and Microsoft isn't confident in the IP anymore. They think the IP is in decline. So who knows? The Master Chief Collection could have been in bad shape because it didn't have proper funding and support, and they thought they would slap together some nostalgic, like, collection of games, and it got shredded. And the same thing could have been happening with Halo up to this point, is not proper funding, not properly backed, not properly supported. We don't really believe in this franchise anymore, so we get all these half-baked games. It's hard not to look at Microsoft corporate and feel like they're not a part of this. If they don't think, if they're like, the franchise is in decline, then how much backing did this game really get from the time that 343 took over? I'm loving this move for 343, says Kill You. The game didn't meet expectations. Got to cut the person in charge and put in place proven talent. Probably won't see effects for this for another year or so. Yeah, I wouldn't expect this to make any changes. Everything that's in the pipeline's already in the pipeline. Like, this isn't going to suddenly make the game better. Even if you believe that Bonnie was the problem or that leadership was the problem, new leadership isn't going to have an immediate effect. That's just not the case with anything of a project of this size. Master Chief Collection didn't even work in the beginning. It was terrible. He came in and made it work and added content. The Master Chief Collection did not launch well, says Phoenix Prime, but the revamp started a massive overhaul of all the connected systems and brought it to PC for the first time in franchise history. Big achievement here. The cynicism aside, Halo 4, 5, and Infinite have been what not to do with a well-known AAA game. I won't disagree with them. I won't disagree with that. What happens with Joseph Staten? I said that you should put Joseph Staten in charge. That's what I said. Now, they obviously are thinking differently about this, right? I do think that they are the nature of the leadership change. I think a lot of people are looking at it and saying, oh yeah, this is exactly what needs to happen. And I think they're approaching it from a fixer standpoint. They're bringing in somebody who fixed Master Chief Collection. And I thought, no, put Joseph Staten in charge. They may see Joseph Staten's role being very, very differently. Whoever made this decision at a corporate level, they see Pierre as somebody who's going to come in and basically put things on the right path. Because you have to think about something. In the wake of this situation, it would be very easy for somebody to come in and make it worse, right? They would be gas on a fire. People are probably not happy. There's probably people that really liked working with Bonnie Ross. There's probably people that are very frustrated with the project and how it hasn't been doing well and how they've wanted things to change or they've wanted things to improve. So morale is probably not in a great place right now, okay? Not only on the heels of all of YouTube and the entire community basically calling for 343 to be fired from the project, they go through a leadership restructuring. That could literally be gas on a burning building. Like, it's already burning to the ground, and we're just going to throw gas on it. Because it could arguably make things worse, and people could just get more irritated, and work quality could plummet, and morale could go down, okay? So bringing in Pierre Hintz makes sense, because they're like, listen, he stepped into a project that was in bad shape, and he turned it around. He's got the experience on how to handle that. He's going to know how to speak to the irritated staff, leadership, project leads, etc., and say, hey, listen, we can turn this project around. We've done it before. Joseph is good at what he does, but he never ran a company. He's probably comfortable with the creative director role. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Gail. Mr. Glum hitting a 6-month milestone, that's half a year, and a big Tier 4 membership, says, Joe should be on the floor with everyone else. 343 isn't the same as Bungie in terms of management and who actually looks at the game and the numbers. Look at Doom Resurrection of Evil, says SPC DeWitt, and then Doom 2016. 2016 was the proper sequel to Doom 2. Joseph Staten needs to go back to Bungie and jump ship before it sinks. I don't think he has any interest in going back to Bungie. And honestly, if you've been paying attention to that company, I don't think anybody wants to I don't think anybody would want to go work there either. That's not the subject of today, but I don't think Staten has any interest in going back there any more than the composer, right? Those guys didn't have a good experience with that company. They left in sort of a bit of a huff. I don't think he would want to go back. Lono question. She was in charge of everything, not just vision. Is it possible she was just stretched too thin? When this guy was in charge of this game, they put someone else when it became the universe. Yeah, I mean, there certainly is, Kage, something to be said for the fact of listen to these new roles. Was there a GM before? Because it says here that the leadership team will expand with new roles. So they're basically saying we're adding new roles. These roles didn't exist before. Brian Koski will become GM of the franchise, and Elizabeth Van Wyck will oversee business and operations. So they're not just replacing Bonnie Ross. They're replacing Bonnie Ross and adding 2 new roles. Because Pierre Hintz is going to become studio head effective immediately, and then he's going to have the support of a GM and someone overseeing business and operations. So it is possible that what Kage is saying is insightful to say, maybe it's just too much for one person. Like, this isn't working. We need this role divided up. Sounds like they restructured the org and created 2 new verticals. That's exactly what it sounds like. It sounds like they're adding roles and saying this isn't working with one person at the helm. Let's create a different structure here. They're basically splitting Bonnie Ross's job into 3 parts. She may have been spread too thin. Yeah, how can you, like, I actually wonder if that's an undercurrent significant hat tip to Bonnie Ross. I don't really know her. I'm not super familiar with her. But that's a heck of a hat tip that on your way out, they're like, thanks for all you've done. All right, let's get 3 people to do what she was doing. Like, that's a pretty significant hat tip to a certain degree. You may think she did a poor job and that the franchise hasn't been good under her leadership and maybe she had bad vision for the franchise. But with respect to workflow, they're like, we can't replace her with 1 person. We got to replace her with 3 people. You know, how do we know that? Look at the narrative surrounding Halo Infinite, okay? 343 Industries apparently had half their staff on contracts, and Microsoft's got all those people on 18-month contract limitations, so they're walking out the door every year and a half. How do we know Bonnie Ross wasn't saying, hey, Microsoft, this isn't working. I need support staff. You need to put people in different roles. I can't do this. And who knows? If they weren't confident in the IP, you got half the staff at 343 on contracts instead of hiring people, instead of hiring talent. You have knowledge loss walking out the door every year and a half. She could have literally been saying that she wanted to change, and that's why she's out. She's like, I'm out of here. I'm not doing this anymore. I plan to stay until November, but, you know, I've got a family member with a situation going on now. I'm out of here. See you later. This is not working. I'm not saying that she was perfect. I'm saying we could have the narrative completely upside down on this one. As the head of the studio, shouldn't she have been able to appoint those roles, or was Microsoft too micromanaging? Mike, I got no idea. Maybe she was a control freak. Maybe she didn't want to have other people beneath her, and maybe she liked to do all 3 roles as one, and that was part of the problem. I'm just saying there's a distinct possibility here that scapegoating 1 person isn't really addressing the problems with Halo Infinite, because there's 8 different ways that could have played out. She could quite literally be the victim of, like, terrible corporate, like, overheads and overlords being like, we're not confident in the IP, we're going to have control, no, we're not going to give you GMs, we're not going to give you people to oversight. Or she could have been a control freak that drove the franchise into the ground. Like, that's what I'm saying. We don't honestly know. I think if I'm applying Occam's razor, maybe it's not Occam's razor, but the most likely explanation is not that 1 person was to blame for the franchise's problems. In all the years that I've covered, you know, game development and game problems and patches, I've never been like, yep, it comes down to one person. The snitch is saying that the thing this afternoon with the Sony showcase, which we will not be covering because I have soccer with my kiddos. I'm coaching my daughter's soccer team. Indie Japanese game 1 and 2 and AA Japanese games 1 and 2, he's saying to lower your hype. Yeah, the way they gave a 1-day notice and said it was about hardware and their, like, Japanese developers, I was like, that's not going to be anything big. They may end it with a hat tip to Ragnarok and the showcase, but I don't think anything else is going to be big in that Sony State of Play. Jay Stubbles, who works in the industry. I hated the contract system at Microsoft. I worked 5 contracts at Turn 10 Studios. Losing my job every year or so sucked, and it was beyond stressful. Yeah, and so how do you go back and work there and care? You know what I'm saying? Did they get your best work, Jay Stubbles, or did it turn into a paycheck and a grueling process? You know what I'm saying? As Jay Stubbles works on New World, he's familiar with the contract world, which, Jay Stubbles, I had so many people trying to educate me on my videos about, like, everybody does 18-month contracts. I'm like, no, they don't. Sometimes there's 12 to 18-month contracts for, like, quality assurance positions because they prop up the QA department near the end of development, and that's why QA departments have been asking for better treatment and wages. It's why the first video game union was centered on a QA team, but that's not standard for all developers and engineers. This is not a one-person issue. This is a development issue from possibly multiple sources, and we just don't know, says Dan McGann. Jay Stubble says they did, but it was because they dangled the full-time carrot every time. They promised the promise of full-time if I work hard enough. Jiminy Christmas. This is a slide about Halo Infinite engine with some of the conclusions moving from Halo 5 fixed frame rate engine to the variable and infinite, which scales to the hardware. Okay, so a slide about the Halo Infinite engine is... Hang on. The good, variable frame rate model worked well. New job system and threading model allowed them to scale well. The bad, not enough information sharing across the studio on the new variable frame rate model. Lack of explicit data dependencies in the job system. The future, they must introduce data dependencies in the job system to work together with execution dependencies for scheduling, reduce bugs, introduce and simplify onboarding. More work needed to fully convert systems that could run at variable frame rate. More work needed to fully Jobify our main thread. Centering the engine and the updates around a variable frame rate is extremely concerning to me, and it sounds like you guys know what I'm going to say. That sounds motivated by the Series S. Why are you so focused on centering your engine around variable frame rate? Like, why is that so important? Somebody might have to educate me. That might be a significant thing. That might be super duper important, but I don't know. That seems odd that they're centering the engine, the workflow, and the bug squashing around adding more systems to be able to have variable frame rate. Why the frick do you need a variable frame rate for Halo Infinite? Like, it's not some big mass... I mean, I guess it is open world-esque, but I don't know about that. Leaving before the update doesn't bode well. Who made the new badges? Creature did. In Bonnie's exit tweet, she commented on how proud she was of the Halo TV series, a series that didn't even reference the source material in the games. She's been the problem all along, in my opinion. This right here, what did Paul say? The game... I don't know what... I hate how I can't click on that. I'm supposed to be able to click on that message and scroll up. But I always have... Oh, this game had to run on the Xbox One. So you think they centered the engine out around variable refreshed frame rate because of the Xbox One X. Okay, well, if you guys are just tuning in, the latest Halo Infinite news are big changes in the corporate structure. Bonnie Ross is out. They've appointed Pierre Hintz head of the studio, and they've added 2 new positions, a general manager as well as somebody overseeing business and operations. So they sort of split her job into 3, which could be a variety of problems, right? That's because it's 2 messages. I'm supposed to be able to click... it's 2 messages up. No, it still doesn't work a lot of the times. Like, it's supposed to let me click on the message and scroll up, and as soon as I click it, it asks if I want to react to it. It's like, no, I'm clicking on the message. I want to scroll up, right? Like, it even if it's two messages up or 10, it won't let me do it. The only thing I can praise Bonnie for is reviving Halo. A lot of people thought that they were going to leave Halo alone after Bungie left. Bonnie came in and made it her passion project. Well, and I think that's one of the things that's been really telling about this. If you guys are new to the channel, be sure to hit subscribe and be sure to smash the like button if you're enjoying my coverage. We are breaking down Halo Infinite news. The big changes at 343. We need 30 more likes for 200 likes. Big turnout today. If you're enjoying my coverage, make sure you're logged in. I think a lot of people have been watching the show and they're not logged in. We'd love to have you subscribe and add to the conversation in the chat. A lot of people throw me on in the background of their day like a video game podcast. I am safe for work, so I'm not like swearing. That's one of the reasons people can enjoy. We call it working and lurking. You're working and getting your lurk on and listening to the show. More like necromancy than reviving. Oof. It's obviously a complex issue, says Kill You, that will not be fixed by getting rid of one person. But that being said, she was the leader and everything starts with the top down. Her employees are a reflection of her. What's my favorite Halo game? I don't really have a Halo favorite. I'm not a big Halo guy, right? Come on, man. She was the problem all along. 99% of the people here don't even know who she is or what her responsibilities were. Laying the entire mess at her feet is bull. She didn't dev it alone. We will not be covering Nintendo Direct. Nintendo gets they got really weird like a year ago about co-streaming their events. I don't mess with Nintendo because they'll nuke an entire channel over, you know what I'm saying, over nothing. So I don't cover Nintendo's stuff. I'm always even hesitant to play their dadgum games. Sorry to ask this later on the members only stream, but I'm always long asleep by then. When you have a minute, can you address my Discord question? I'm dying to know. I can't do that during a live broadcast, man. The live broadcast is like a train, and you want me to stop and get off the train and go have a cup of coffee. Like, I can't do it. I can't go in there and do that. I think my favorite was the frame rate one. Because I think people that aren't even here will understand that. Oh yes, Nintendo have always been very DMCA happy. Yeah, I'm super gun shy when it comes to Nintendo stuff, you know. And we won't be covering the Sony State of Play because it's likely going to be a pretty small State of Play. The showcase will still be happening at some point this year. Nintendo tells streamer not to co-stream the E3 Direct. Yeah. Purple won't stream in response. Yeah, the Purple platform literally didn't even stream it. They're like, if you're not going to let our people restream it, co-stream it, we're not streaming it. Yeah. Nintendo will nuke your channel for showing their content without explicit consent. Right. Bonnie Ross was the manager of a sports team whose owner failed to provide good players, didn't provide proper training facilities, and then is blamed for losing because she chose the wrong reliever. Right. Eugene has used this sports analogy before. He's essentially saying, listen, if you want to lay everything at Bonnie Ross's feet, where does Microsoft come into the equation here? At what point did they step in and really help fix things? At what point should they have stepped in? Some of the anti-Bonnie Ross attitude, I think, stems from Microsoft fandom. It's like, well, surely it's not Microsoft's fault. They own the studio. It's their biggest and most iconic franchise to date. And what did they do after things weren't going well? What did they do? Where is the evidence that Microsoft started to heavily back this IP? All the evidence points to the contrary. Bonnie Ross literally goes to Microsoft corporate and says, I can do this. I can turn this thing around. And I'm supposed to believe in the corporate world. They looked at her and said, oh, sure, here's a big fat budget and tons of support. They probably were like, you're going to have to prove it, okay? So, Halo 4 comes out, doesn't get the greatest response. Halo 5 come out, seemingly getting worse, okay? So, at that point, where is Microsoft in the equation? Keep going, guys. Good work. Like, let's say that her decision-making with the show was bad, because it sounded pretty bad. She was like, we didn't even consult the source material. What the frick are you making the show for then? Anyway, and that one hurts my brain. Like, it actually causes me to feel pain inside of my skull that you made a Halo TV show and you thought it was a good idea to not consult the source material. Like, who are these showrunners? Anyway, if you think that that's a bad decision, at what point does Microsoft step in and say, this is our biggest property. What are you doing? What are you doing? What? They don't seem to care. Unfortunately, who can hold Xbox accountable? Her failure is also Microsoft's, assuming they gave the necessary resources. You're uninformed about the not looking at the source material. Look up the full context. I mean, so what? Were the quotes? Were the people saying that they didn't look at it? Were they lying? Do you feel like the show was based on the source material? Do you feel like they did a good job with the show? Is that an argument you want to have with me? See, I believe Microsoft was having a hands-off approach with their developers, but temp contracts and the news around the initiative, right, it really changes my mind. Like, are they hands-off or are they bootstrapping these companies, right? These are all straw mans. I'm out. Did you learn a new dirty word today and you're trying to use it? Are you testing out straw man fallacy? Do you know what it means? Straw man fallacy is where you misrepresent an argument and make it look incredibly weak, and then you wail on the weak argument. Demonstrate where I have done that this morning. Or misuse a term that refers to a fallacious way to argue or an argumentative fallacy and then say that you're out. Okay. You're the captain of the speech and debate team. I can tell. I'm really forgiving with TV shows, but Halo was just bad from its core. They were misquoted. It wasn't based on the source narrative, but they were familiar with the material. Thanks for explaining it and not making it any better. Thanks for explaining it, Shogun, and not making the situation any better. Well, it wasn't based on the source narrative. Stop! Stop! That's the point. Why? Why make it then? You haven't made it any better. Oh no, they were familiar with the material. They just didn't use it. Oh. It's 10 out of 10 show now. Much better. Much better. What are you talking about? That makes it worse. That makes it worse. Uninformed says barrier. March 21st of 2022, Halo's showrunner said they didn't look at or talk about the game while making the Paramount Plus series. Last week, Halo showrunner Stephen Kane told Variety that the team behind the upcoming live-action series wasn't interested in sticking to the source material. 10 out of 10 Halo show. Woo! Amazing. Don't tell me I'm ignorant. Go get out. Just go read. I don't want you to leave, but come on. Read the full context. Can you give me the full context? I guarantee you it'll get better. Oh, it's going to age like a fine wine as I read more about the Halo TV show. I can't wait to be corrected. Oh, here it comes. I can sense all of the facts and information coming from my head. Here we go. It's not that they didn't use the source material. It's that they didn't use it. It was in the room. They had like a book in the room. It was over in the corner, and they set their coffee on it, you know. So it wasn't they didn't have the source material. I mean, they had it, but they just didn't use it. They didn't look at it. They didn't. Can you argue that the TV show was based on the source material or that honored the legacy of Master Chief and the story of Halo? Are you going to attempt to argue that? Come on. What are you even talking about? You win. I'm going to be quiet. That would be advised. The Halo did not go based on games, but a separate squad from the comic source material book. Right, like, this is a red herring about the main subject. No one cares about the TV show. It's a dumpster fire. It's a freaking dumpster fire. So who cares about the TV show? Do you really think that Bonnie Ross wants us talking about that TV show on her exit? I mean, she did bring it up in her exit. She's proud of the TV show. I wouldn't have brought that up, Bonnie. You know, all respect due, and I hope everything is fine with your personal situation. But I wouldn't have friggin' brought up that TV show on my exit. I wouldn't have done that. I'd have been like, we've done a lot of great things with the Halo franchise since I took over. It's been over 15 years. Flex a little, and then get the frick out. I would not have brought up the TV show. I just wouldn't have done that. Bringing up the TV show, the thing that irritated fans and was abysmal. I don't know if I'd have done that. Not sticking to the source material doesn't mean they weren't familiar with it. Maybe I'm getting into semantics, but it wasn't as bad as people make it out to be. Okay. Salute Reforge will return. Big Direct shortly. Did hit the like. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Have you noticed that every time you lead with an Xbox story, we have a jump in viewers, and they all come expecting you to shill from Microsoft, and they take offense to you being honest about Microsoft? I don't know if that's what's happening. I feel like we have a lot of people that like Microsoft, and they want to know my coverage. I don't necessarily think that people expect me to shill. I think that, listen, I guarantee you right now, there are people who are so pro-Microsoft, they were hoping for me to be sitting here dogging on Bonnie Ross. And it's like, I'm not going to dog on Bonnie Ross. I don't think she did a very good job with Halo Infinite. I don't think so. I don't think she was working by herself, right? I don't think she was working in a vacuum. I think there were other pieces involved. I think at some point when your prized franchise has run aground, okay, it's run aground, that I think you have to start to look at Microsoft. You can't just look at Bonnie Ross. Your odd choices of when to be transparent. What am I being transparent about right now? What? Honestly, people just need to be open to having an open discussion on gaming subjects. I feel like the industry has pushed against that. I think we have a lot of Halo and Microsoft fans that enjoy my content. I think there's a divide, though. I think there are people that are so pro Xbox and so pro Microsoft that when something goes wrong, it's only 343's fault. It's only Bonnie Ross's fault. And it's like, shouldn't you be screaming at Microsoft to get involved? Shouldn't you be yelling from the rooftops, save our boy? Save our boy! Master Chief's lying in the gutter, save him! And Microsoft is just like, Starfield's coming out, like what the frick? Where's the gumption from Microsoft? Where is the cracked, like, I was going to say cracked whip, but that might be, I don't even know if that metaphor will probably get you canceled these days. Water Marlin with 15 months. This badge is nice. Thank you so much for being with me for more than a year. Where is the call to action from Microsoft? Look at how Microsoft treated Halo Infinite. Seriously. Look at what they did in 2020. According to internal reports here, they are like, no, this game is coming out. And they're like, it's not ready. And they're like, show it. And they're like, all right, fine, we'll show it. And everyone's like, what is this crap? This looks so bad. And Microsoft's like, hey, why'd we show such a bad trailer? And 343's like, we tried to tell you that it wasn't ready. And Microsoft's like, all right, fine. You can delay it for 1 year. The contract policy went into effect in 2015. Infinite was under that the whole time. Yeah, the entire time Halo Infinite was under production, the contract policy went into effect for them. Did the contract policy for Microsoft go into effect earlier than that, and then they put into effect at 343, Eugene? Or is that when Microsoft did it company-wide? I thought that the lawsuit was way earlier, like 2001 was when they put it into effect for Microsoft. 6 years in development, how long do you expect Microsoft to wait? Until it's done. Right? Till it's done. Who hasn't liked the stream yet? You're slacking. Come on, guys, let's shoot for 300 likes. We're having another strong turnout. They should let Halo rest for a while and give 343 a new, smaller project. Jay Stubble says, contracts at Microsoft are way older. I started with them in 2008. It turned 10. Company-wide, from what I can tell. Yeah, well, Jay Stubbles is saying the 18-month contract was in effect when he worked for Turn 10 in 2008. So I don't know. They were already enforcing the policy when Jay Stubbles was in a contract with them, and that was 7 years prior to your timeline. He actually worked for a Microsoft studio. He said it was terrible. Well, he didn't say the studio was terrible. He said that losing his job every year and a half was terrible. Can you imagine? I can't imagine working for a company that size. I'm like, how you doing? Yeah, we got more money than God. You can only work here for a year and a half. I'm sorry, what? What the frick did you just say to me? They need to give 343 the resources to fix Halo. No point screaming at people or moving to another studio. That's what I'm saying, Hilly. That's what I'm saying. Good people there, but the policy sucked. Right. I caught myself. Sometimes I say stuff and I'm like, oh, that might be interpreted another way. That happened the other day with something. Oh my gosh. Paul, you're such a cherry picker. I need you to change your name to cherry picker, okay? Nobody has ever argued that contracts in the gaming world are bad. No one has ever argued that contracts 12 to 18 months are bad. I have consistently conceded the point that QA teams are commonly, and IT specialists are commonly brought in for 1 to 2 years because they're not needed for the entirety of the project. There are also contracts that run the length of the project. Microsoft says every contract is 18 months. And if you can't see the giant difference between the two, I can't help you, my friend. I simply can't help you. You've got companies that are like, we don't need QA right now. Don't hire any QA workers. Okay, fine. All right, now we're far enough in development. Let's open up the QA department. Let's push out a bunch of 18-month contracts, year-long contracts for QA workers. That has nothing to do with Microsoft saying any contracted worker, 18 months. And 343 seemingly is the only company to speak out about this and say, this is a problem. We had people walking out the door every 18 months. You got a guy in our chat right now that in 2008 he worked for a Microsoft studio and he said, it was awful having to lose my job every year and a half. What are you talking about? It's not standard everywhere. Yeah, Rare has permanent contracts, but again, that's not what we're talking about. Oh, don't do that. Don't actually rename him Cherry Picker. I was being, there was showmanship. Creature probably did that. Skate-Nader with a $10 tip through Super Chat. I primarily played on a Sony console my whole life. I've never really played Halo, but as a gamer, it makes me sad to see Halo going down this road because I know so many people that love the series. Thank you for the $10 tips through Super Chat. Guys, don't forget, when we have big turnouts like today, there's a great reason to gift members. It's not about the people that are here. It's about the people that are here all the time. They have fixed gifted members. So the more you watch and the more you're here and the more you smash like, the more likely you'll get a gifted member when you're not even in the stream. Could I get 50 more likes on the video? We're having a very strange thing happen recently. We're getting tons of viewers and people aren't pressing the like button. Now, I think that's because a lot of you are browsing through some sort of way where you're not logged in. We'd love to have you be a part of our community. Log in, hit subscribe so you can talk and chat, smash the like button, and the more often you're here, you might get a gifted membership when somebody goes off and does a bunch. We're at like 1,400 members. We're pushing for 1,500. What about Frank O'Connor and Kiki? Yeah, John Adams, somebody this morning said they need to go too. They said all the leadership needs to be restructured. Like, they didn't just have Bonnie Ross step down, right? She didn't just step down. She's being replaced by 3 people. How it wouldn't be delayed or be a dev for 6 years minimum when all your employees are constantly being hired, onboarded, and fired. Yeah, how could it not be delayed when you're doing that? You know what I'm saying? That's true, but it was still awful, says Jay Stubbles. Every year, we'd lose the environment team. All knowledge and training lost. Following year, new contract and retraining new people over and over. Listen to what this man is saying. Do you hear what he's saying? This is a man with experience in the industry, and listen to what he just said. It was awful. Every year, we would lose the environment team. All the knowledge and training lost. Following year, new contract and retraining new people all over. How in the frick do you expect to build a game under those conditions? Like, 343 was working under those conditions. Basically, we don't know if they were losing entire teams, but he's saying he worked at a Microsoft-owned studio, and like, yeah, you lose the environment team, gone. Yeah. All that knowledge, all that workflow, gone. All that momentum, gone. Come on. It's... There is absolutely no way, if this story is getting the traction that it's getting, and the conclusion that the public comes to is, it doesn't have anything to do with Microsoft, all on Bonnie Ross. You're making a tactical error if you think that. Was she a part of the equation? Sure. Did she make mistakes? Did she have bad ideas? I'm sure she did. I'm not even going to attempt to argue that she's perfect. No leader is. But she's not alone on the dance floor. She's not. She's got a corporate the corporate backing of the project. They thought the IP was in decline. They thought Halo Infinite was in they thought Halo as a franchise was in decline when she pitched her idea. So when she pitches her vision and takes over, they don't even believe in the franchise anymore. And in the process, they don't do a great job. And Microsoft seemingly doesn't step in. They don't restructure. They just let it keep on keeping on. And by the time they get to the point where they're building Halo Infinite, they got people walking out the door every year and a half. No positions currently available? Yeah, you want to know why, Paul? There's a rumor that 343 is under a hiring freeze. I talked about this recently in a short. If the game was doing well and making money, a new subscription renewal of Reforge Roast, 2 bags of light for my man James. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Oh, it put the username on the label. What the what? Thank you everybody who has hit subscribe this morning and has joined the community. Chime in chat. Let us know what you think of the situation. Big shakeup. The Halo Infinite news is that Bonnie Ross is stepping down and 3 new positions have now been filled. People so easily forget that Halo 4 was supposed to be Halo 5 and rushing one rushed both, screwing the franchise future. Right, and who made those decisions? I don't know. Are they hiring professionals or amateurs? Feels like the latter. Rissick, that was Rissick, right. Well, here's the thing, Alex. If you're, I want you to think about what you just said, and I want you to really look at who's to blame for that. Who do you think is to blame for that? If I told you, you can only hire people that are willing to accept 18-month contracts, just how deep of a reservoir and talent pool do you think you're going to get to tap into? You think you're going to be getting the cream of the crop? You think uber talented workers and engineers and developers, you think they're lining up to be like, yeah, man, 18-month contracts. That's where the good stuff is. You know what I'm saying? How do you not look at Microsoft and say, y'all are part of the problem? And how dare you? I got a real problem with this. Bonnie Ross steps down and she says she's, quote, attending to a family medical issue. And the press release from Microsoft says Bonnie Ross will be leaving Microsoft and spending more time with her family. What the frick? That's not what she said. That's not what she says. That sounds like when someone retires and is like, I want to spend more time with my grandchildren. You got a lot of frickin' nerve coming behind her announcement and being like, oh, she's going to spend more time with her family. She said that she hoped to stay on till November, and now she's attending to a medical issue, a family medical issue. And you come behind her and say, oh, she's going to spend more time with her family. That's not what she said. She didn't say that. That reads very differently. Do you know what I'm saying? Doesn't Ginger Prime work on some type of contract-related deal as an engineer? I think, yeah, he does. He does different things like that, yeah. I don't know if he works on, like, specific, like, mainline studio projects. You'd have to ask him. Maybe Microsoft didn't want to bring attention to the medical issue. She said it in her own announcement. Why wouldn't they just have parity with her phrasing? Why wouldn't they just copy her phrasing? So you want to fire Phil Spencer? Who said that? No one said that. I like Phil Spencer. What are you talking about? It went from don't hire ex-Bungie devs to please fix the game. Joseph Staten says, I'm happy to confirm Halo veteran, this was in July of this year, Paul Bertone has joined the team as studio technical design director. I met him in 1999 back in Bungie's Chicago days, and then when we shipped Halo 1 through 3, ODST, and Reach together. I'm thrilled to have him lead the future. So they brought on a technical design director that worked on Halo way back in the day. Basically, she said she didn't want to leave until she got her first bonus. She was allowed to leave gracefully, just not that gracefully. You don't know anything? Then why the frick are you watching me? Go watch somebody else then if I don't know anything. How is Phil Spencer to blame or does not take any of the blame? He just gets off free? Listen, that's the point I'm making. You can't look at one individual person and blame them. Looking at Bonnie Ross and blaming her for a bunch of stuff, looking at Phil Spencer and blaming him for a bunch of stuff, this sounds like corporate mismanagement is what it sounds like. That's an insidious and systemic problem. That's not one person. I actually think Phil Spencer's good. I think he's good at what he does. I think you can thank him that you can still buy an Xbox. You should have a statue of Phil in your bedroom, and you give him a little kiss on the mouth every night and say, thanks, Papa Phil, that I still have an Xbox to play. That's not me taking a dig at fans. I'm being serious. You should literally be thanking Phil Spencer that you still can buy and play Xbox content. He's quite literally one of the main reasons that it's still around, okay? Big ups to Papa Phil. I'm not asking for anybody to be fired. I'm saying this sounds like a systemic problem from Microsoft corporate that is ebbed out into their gaming division. We've talked about this before. The way that Microsoft handles an operating system, the way that Microsoft handles software doesn't translate to game development. We have somebody in chat who worked for a game developer in 2008 under Microsoft and talked about how horrible it was. Constantly having people leaving, constantly having teams leave, right? We would just lose the environment team every 18 months. What the frick? Can you imagine building a game under those constraints? Can you imagine being Bonnie Ross and directing a franchise under those constraints? How much talent are you really filling the bucket with? How many people are you really going to be able to pull in under those situations? And then when it gets looked into, Schreier gets people on the inside to talk. And they're like, listen, man, about 50% of our staff was on contracts, which means every 18 months we had people walking out the door. And it's a Microsoft corporate policy. I definitely respect Phil for a lot of the chances he's brought to Microsoft Gaming, although I think there may need to be for more support for their leaders under him. Halo doesn't exist right now if Bonnie Ross doesn't successfully pitch her future vision for Halo. Like, you have a limping, struggling Halo franchise, but a limping, struggling franchise can turn into a good one again, and that wouldn't have happened if Bonnie Ross wouldn't have stepped in. Microsoft would have shuttered it and been like, it's in decline, cut it, we're done with it. We don't got Bungie making it anymore. The franchise is in decline. Just cut the thing. It's done. Halo doesn't exist right now. I mean, you have a game that they could build on. You have an engine in the system that, for all intents and purposes, has good parts to it. I'm not saying that the game is in good state right now. It certainly is not. No, Staten's not in charge right now. Pierre Hintz is now head of the franchise, and they've given him a GM underneath him, and then there's a woman that's going to oversee business and operations. So there's a dude, there's a man and a woman underneath of him. So they took Bonnie Ross and said, okay, she's now gone. In her vacuum, we're adding 3 people, basically. Are we trying to assign blame to Phil? I don't know who he was talking to. It seemed like he was talking to me. He's like, so you want to have Phil fired? I'm like, I don't think Phil should be fired. I think Phil's done a fine job. I think Phil is being forced into an awkward position with the Call of Duty thing, but I don't think that's anything to do with him as a person or him as like a businessman. I think Microsoft corporate's forcing him into that. trying to make assurances that Call of Duty won't be exclusive, but then it sounds like it's going to be. Like, that's not on him. He's more than likely having his nuts put in a vice. Like, they're making him do that. Isn't that nuts? They needed 3 people to replace her? That's what I said, Eugene. I said that could be a feather in her cap, or it could be that she kept giving assurances it was fine, you know, and she kept going. Micromanaging, oh, I've got everything. It's all on me, right? Like, that could have 100% been on her. Of like a, you know, hey, you need to let other people step in and help, and she just wouldn't. I mean, I'm not saying that that's what she was doing. I'm saying it literally could have been her choice to be overworked and stretched. There are people that do that. They live for it. Or she could have been screaming for years, this isn't working, I'm stretched too thin, we need more people, we need more support. And Microsoft's like, you're going to do it with 50% of your staff on contract, and we're not going to give you any more people at your level. But Bonnie did not save Halo? According to this, she took the reins. She famously took the reins of 343 Industries after pitching her vision for Halo against a Microsoft corporate climate that felt as though the franchise was in decline. So there's a corporate climate at the time she takes over that's like, we kind of think this thing's on the way out. And she's like, no, I have a vision for the franchise. Let me take over. And they apparently let her. Her IGN interview tells a very different story. No resources, no time, no new engine. She said that. Guys, we are 1 hour into the stream, so YouTube's saying, hey, now's a great time to run ads. I don't like to run ads in the middle of a live stream. If you watch the VOD, there'll be one ad every 30 minutes. We could maybe do with some gifted members, or consider becoming a member all by yourself. It's $5 a month. If you enjoy the content, that's a great way to support what we do. I try not to harp on it too much, but live streamers in this environment, that's basically what we live off of. We live off of the direct support of members and viewers like yourself. Reach was great. Yeah, Reach got great reviews. What are you talking about? Creature says that's doubtful. It sounds like she was the thing stopping that structure, else she'd still be there. That's more common, but we will not know for another 5 years. So are you saying, Leet Spartan, that she did an interview where she was like, I didn't have support. I didn't have resources, time. Her post-Halo 5 interview is her painfully discussing how Halo 4 was rushed at the end of 360 and how Halo 5 suffered from it. Really interesting. A $5 tip from Roger. And Jay Stubble says, I'll give 5 members. Look at that. Leet Spartan adding good info and good conversation pieces. They get a gifted member. Filta, Mr. Fiend, Ghost Dragon, and Pete Ango. There we go. It's that easy. If you're here, if you're contributing, you'll likely get a gifted member. Maybe we'll go on a little gifted member train. We're getting really close to the 1,500 member goal. We do an extra members-only talk show every day, and YouTube told me in an update they are trying to notify members more effectively about that content. We still encourage you to get into the Reforge Discord. It's members only for the most part. Like 95% of its members only, and that's where you'll get notified about members only content. YouTube should also be notifying you as well. Overworking people who made no content in 6 years. Give me a break. They milked this because clearly the leaders were terrible at efficiently in their work ethic. Did you hear what he said, Kill You? Listen to what this man is saying. Bonnie Ross did a post-Halo 5 interview and painfully discussed how Halo 4 was rushed at the end of the 360's life cycle, and then Halo 5 suffered for it. You don't think, you think that was an artistic decision, a vision decision from Bonnie Ross, or, hold on to your hats, was it a Microsoft corporate decision? Which do you think is more likely? Put the pieces of the puzzle together. They think that the franchise is in decline. She pitches her vision, and they rush Halo 4 at the end of the 360's life cycle, and it hurts Halo 5 in the process. But yeah, it's Bonnie Ross's fault. It's 343. It's on them. Yeah, somehow they're just lazy and milking it. Who do you think made those decisions? You think 343 decided to do that with the timelines? Or do you think Microsoft did? Did you read Schreier's article about Halo Infinite? Who was pushing them for the release date? Who was pushing for the early showing? Microsoft was, not 343. 343 was apparently in crisis mode in early 2019, and they were told this thing will launch in November of 2020. And they force out this trailer that is so god-awful that the public response forces them to delay the game. Who do you think did that? Was that 343 or was that Microsoft, since it's Microsoft's showcase? Who's in charge? Who's in charge? Oh, please, she's just pointing fingers? Sure. Sure, yeah. I need people that are pro Xbox and pro Microsoft to entertain the idea that Microsoft might be part of the problem. I'm not saying she wasn't part of the problem. I've seen quotations. I've seen her say things about her vision and things she wanted to do, and I'm like, sounds like she didn't have the greatest vision for the franchise. But it can't all be her. You can't put it all on her. 6 years to make Halo Infinite, they're all to blame. So you want to fire Microsoft. Master Jazz, I don't think you have the ability to enter into an intellectual discussion, because I said you need to entertain the idea that Microsoft might be part of the equation. So you want to fire Microsoft? No. I didn't say anything that indicates that. No, nothing I said indicated that I would like for Microsoft to be fired. What I'm saying is, Microsoft has a corporate approach to software, and it works. It works. Microsoft dominates the software industry. They print money. They're massive. Billions and billions of dollars in profit. And they bring that corporate structure over to the gaming world. And it doesn't seem to be going that well. It doesn't seem to be working all that well. You don't think... How is this not a red flag for you? Right? Other Microsoft games seem to do fine. Yeah, sure. What, other than Forza, what do you got? What's your other Microsoft game that's doing so well? Do you really want to invoke Sea of Thieves? I would love for you to invoke Sea of Thieves, because that would be entertaining. You have to consider this, right? The people that worked on Halo Infinite, the prized, big, iconic name for Xbox, okay? The people that were working on the center stage franchise for the Xbox told Jason Schreier half of our staff was on 18-month contracts. Who do you think made that decision? Who enforced that policy? It wasn't 343, it was Microsoft. So if Microsoft is willing to treat their biggest franchise, their most iconic franchise, with that level of care, then why do you think that they're not to blame at least some level in this equation? Are you actually serious right now? This is their biggest, most iconic franchise, and that's how they treated it. Look what they've done to your boy. Look what they've done to your boy. Master Chief, bro. This is your boy. This is your guy. And Microsoft's, that's the way they've treated him. You can't blame 343 for policies that come from Papa Microsoft. You can't do that. Go back and look at what Microsoft released before 2015 and what they released after, says Eugene. And then look at the policy that went into effect in 2015. The only boy I know is Atreus. Boy. Microsoft in general has only had a huge reduction in quality in their software. How often does a Windows update release haphazardly reduce performance? Maybe it's that crap policy. Yeah, let's talk about Windows 11 and what it did to so many people's computers. New joysticks looks good. Thank you, Sichuan. I think Microsoft expected Halo to be finished in 3 years. The 4th year was to polish it up for release. It cooked too long and too much didn't get done in the additional years. Look at how they massacred my boy. Helmet off in episode 1 of the show. Yeah. Maintain mystique, mysteriousness, and illusion for literal decades, and then yank his helmet off in episode 1 of the show. Yeah. We've already gotten confirmation the 18-month policy started before 2015, so what other policy are we trying to blame now? Cujo, I think what Eugene was saying is it was broadly applied in 2015. It was in effect at some studios prior to 2015. No campaign, as in the story campaign, as in their launch date trailer releases. I'm not sure what you're trying to say, Jay. The 18-month policy wasn't company-wide for everyone. Yeah, so Jay Stubbles worked at Studio 10. Studio 10 had that policy in effect when he worked there in 2008. But it was company-wide in 2015. It got applied everywhere. It's called a rollout, homie. It's called a rollout. You can't rigidly go in and do that. There's already companies and people under contracts, and there's all these things signed and agreed upon. So it's a rollout. So 2008, there were studios that had already had the policy rolled out, and then by 2015, it was company-wide. It was everywhere. Every pocket of the company was underneath the policy. 343 have on their website no positions currently available. This is a problem when you look at the game today. Microsoft need to resource the studio or stand tall and take the media hits. Is Frank O'Connor still there? Danzatastic. People have been asking about Frank O'Connor and Kiki because they believe that they need to go as well. I don't actually know if anything has been stated about them. I don't think this is the end of the restructuring, personally. I don't. If you guys haven't hit the like button today or the subscribe button, please do so. If this is your first time watching my stream and you're not logged in, I am a Safe for Work broadcaster. Consider logging in, hitting subscribe, hitting like. If you're not logged in, you will not get a gifted membership. There's no way for it to track your viewership without you being logged in. So if you'd like to be a part of what we do here, be sure to smash the like button and the subscribe button. Most of you found this stream today on your homepage. Almost 80% of the people that have seen this video today, it was on your homepage. If you've never watched my content before, welcome into Reforge Gaming. Glad to have you. It is free to subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost anything. Joining as a member is $5 a month, but you get a constant flow of members-only content. Someday, when a documentary gets made about all of Halo, the most interesting parts will be the when, where, who of the beginning of the downfall, likely right after Reach. How many games that Microsoft makes have a longer development cycle than 3 years? Starfield is the only one I can think of, and that was only under Microsoft for a short time. Right, you can't even lay... Listen, I'm going to tell you something right now. Oh my gosh, that's a whole other subject. Do you know what's going to happen with Starfield? Starfield's going to run like absolute cheeks on the Series S, and everyone's going to blame Bethesda. They're going to do the same thing they're doing with 343. It couldn't possibly be Microsoft's poor decision-making or corporate structure. No, it's 343. It's Bonnie Ross. It's whatever. How many gray names we got at the moment? There's a lot of gray names in chat, Lord Bacon. There's a lot. I'm seeing, I don't even know how many. If you don't have a membership badge right now, say something in chat. We'd love to see you. Lord Bacon's trying to get a gauge on how many of you here do not have a membership badge. Lord Bacon may be getting ready to bestow blessings on you. I want Microsoft to sell the franchise to PlayStation. Oh, I don't think that would be helpful. A $5 tip from Tiger 2 Actual. This is poor performance at several layers. People working on creative side moved away from what made Halo great. Microsoft policies are forcing poor choices. I just wish Halo was finished before release. Soulman Grim says, hey, you got... I just spit coffee. A bird flew straight into my window. Oh, golly. That's scary. There you go. A lot of people. A lot of people. Eugene says, all the great studios under Sony, they must have just got lucky. Microsoft is just super unlucky with their talent, Kappa. Yeah, I don't think they'll need to sell Halo. Look at all the great names. Listen, if you have a great name, we're happy that you're here. We're happy that you're here. If you can afford a membership and you enjoy my content all month long, like you're here all the time, consider spending the $5. If you can't afford it, then don't worry. Lord Bacon just went big, and that's why we ask people to do their own membership if they can, because this takes care of the folks who can't afford it. We want to welcome in as many people as we can. So much generosity in this community. That's a big one. That's a 20 gifted member bomb. Assumed Parasite, Jesse Kruger, Resurrect, Angel Rivera de Jesus, Lester Garcia. That's the first 5. Oh, golly. It's going so fast. Donkey Sausage, love seeing a name I recognize get one. Donkey Sausage got one. The Real NPB, Hawk and Rain, another name I recognize. Mike DeCook, that's half of them. Osilius, Burnt Reynolds, I love that. Burnt Reynolds, David Hollows, Point by Point, Solius Games, and let's get the final 5. It is Avid7, a name I recognize. Sandra, a name I recognize. Mrs. Polar Bear, that's a name I recognize. JR is here all the time. And Dewoovi. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of names I recognize. Some of them might not even be here right now. Do you want to know why they got one? Because it literally picks people in order of loyalty. That's why they leave. That's why they're gone that fast. So make sure you click allow gifts so that in the future, you might not be here. But if you watch all the time, you'll get a gifted membership. Thank you so much for half a year milestone, Omar. Welcome back. I just do it to watch Lono try to pronounce them. I do my best. I know you don't like the S, but it's been running all my games that I have on the S just fine. Granted, we haven't gotten to the resource-heavy stuff, but why all the negativity towards it? It's not negativity. It's not negativity. It's the facts. When is that coming to Game Pass? Oh, Goldeneye is coming to Game Pass. A 5-month milestone from my man Jay White says, great show. Thank you, sir. Welcome back in. 25 years after its original release, experience GoldenEye 007 faithfully recreated for Xbox consoles. It includes achievements, 4K resolution, and a smoother frame rate, even split-screen local multiplayer, coming soon to Xbox Game Pass. That's a nice win. A $2 tip from Omar. All hail Lord Bacon. That's right. I mean, all 20 got claimed, so if anybody else wants to run a gifted member train, do it. I still see a ton of gray names in chat. Xbox S is not worth it. Like, I don't hate the Series S. I don't. Reason, your thoughts on Starfield and Series X? Right on, preach. Yeah, I'm telling you right now, everyone's going to blame Bethesda. No one's going to say, maybe Microsoft shouldn't have launched a weaker system at the beginning of a next-gen generation of consoles. Like, maybe they shouldn't have done that. God of War 2018, let me tell you, thank you for telling me to play it. You are welcome. An entire year for Ric Flair. Woo! Ric Flair. When you cross the end of this month, your badge will turn gold. A whole year milestone. Thank you, sir. You told me not to buy the Series S for Prime Day. Good save, chat. I almost paid $200 for it. Sorry, my friend, but I must take my leave now as a time difference. I need to go to bed. Both Leopard. You've been here quite a bit. I've been seeing your name more and more in chat. You might get a gifted membership even when you're not here. Just make sure and click that allow gifts and make sure you have it toggled on. You can always click the join button and then the 3 dots at the top and go to your gifted options. And just make sure it's toggled on for this channel because it is working now. Tiger 2 Actual getting close to a year milestone, 11 months. I'm here so I can see Lono hair gain vertically. That's right. That's right. It is getting long, but it's fun when it's long. Lono, I blame both 343 and Microsoft. I just find it strange that some in chat who I know hate Microsoft and love Sony are defending 343, which makes me look like I'm defending Microsoft when I'm not. It's hard to splice it. Yo, Chris says, let's keep the member train going. 5 gifted members already gone. Macho Man's here all the time. Crowded House is here all the time. Jonathan Rivera is here all the time. Sebastian and Archie. All of them gone. 3 of the 5 I see in chat all the time. The other people probably just heavily lurk. If you're getting a gifted alongside Crowded House, Jonathan, and Macho Man, then you lurk all of the time because those are really loyal viewers. According to an article from Game Rant, Halo Infinite will have a 10-year plan. Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. Paul has said since August of last year that Bonnie Ross needs to go. It's time for her to step down. It's time for her to go. Sure. You're not the only one to say this. Here's the thing I didn't want to focus on this. Okay? Halo Infinite news hits. Major big changes in the shakeup. Bonnie Ross steps down. Okay? She says that it's to attend to a family medical thing. And I don't want to speculate. I don't want to do any of that. I don't. Okay? However, it is hard to look at the timing and not think that Microsoft said you've got to step down. Danzatastic, keeping the gifted train going. 5 more gifted memberships, and they are already gone. Omen, Yuta, Ryan Gordon, Lord Karabi, and Grimlock Prox. They're all gone. Thank you so much, Danzatastic. That's very generous. If you just got a gifted membership, be sure to get into our members-only Discord. You get members-only content every day of the week. An extra members-only talk show, and then I stream on Friday nights with my wife. It's not Microsoft's fault. Contractor. Right. So I appreciate what was said by Kill You, that the people that are, some of us are harder on Microsoft. I wouldn't say I'm anti-Microsoft. I'm like rooting for Microsoft while also kind of scolding them. I'm watching somebody play poorly and I know they can play well, and I'm like, come on, kick the ball, because I know they can, right? So I'm hard on Microsoft, but it's because of their history. Yo, Omen gets a gifted member and says, you know what? I'll give some members. I'll pay it forward. Ollie, Night Train, Snowy, David Standard, Aditya Chandak, all got gifteds. I recognize almost all of those names. I think 4 out of the 5 talk in chat pretty regularly. Welcome to Reforge Gaming. Welcome to our member pool. So I know some people might think like I'm anti-Microsoft, but something I've learned through coaching my kiddos in soccer is that you have to be harsh at the right times. And there are times where I have to tell my daughter, I tell her, good stop, good dribbling, your kick was so weak. And last night we worked on it. I started saying, you have to set up the kick so it's natural. You're stopping and like wanting to step backwards and kick the ball. Like no one's going to let you do that in the game. So we worked on what I called setups. I don't know all the proper terminology in soccer. I use terms that they'll understand because they're 6 years and 8 years old, right? So I was like, you got to do a setup. You got to set the ball up. So you set the ball up by giving it a little bit of a lead in front of you, and then you can kick through as you're running, and it makes it really powerful. And so we worked on that last night. Now, I was harsh, though. I was like, it was a weak kick. Or I'll say, you had a bad stop, or you flubbed the dribbling, right? But I also am willing to step in and praise when there is improvement, right? And I look at Microsoft the same way. I'm like, y'all are absolutely hitting things weak right now. You've got to make changes. You've got to structure things differently because you guys should be crushing it. You have the backing of Microsoft corporate. Xbox should be absolutely crushing it. And the concern would be that Microsoft corporate policy doesn't necessarily translate well to gaming development. I think that's the issue. I don't think Microsoft is being like dumb or reckless. I think they have Microsoft corporate policies that just don't fit into the gaming world. I think we're seeing it on full display with 343. We are. It's on full display. Halo Infinite is not in the state that it's in because one person did a bad job or because 343 is lazy. Like, I think those are all just like cop-out scapegoats. You know? They're cop-out scapegoats. It's like, you blaming one person? Come on. There's just no way. There's no way. Something that Creature and Eugene were both saying is, watch, the game won't even get any better. Or if it does, it's going to take a really long time. This gen is 2 years old, says Eugene, and they've launched 2 first-party games. 2 effing games. Right. The Xbox Series X is 2 years old, and they've launched 2 first-party games. 2. Like, they should be crushing it right now. I'm actually, like, and that's the thing I think that sometimes people misunderstand. It's like, I'm actually being pro-Microsoft when I push in on what I see as problematic weaknesses that are leading to bad games. Because this could affect literally every company underneath of them. Which, the list of companies underneath Microsoft is about to get really, really big. And you should be thinking, hey, is 343 the exception to the rule here? Or we're hearing that other companies are now struggling. The company working on Fable was having issues. They have a software division that is wildly successful and a gaming side struggling. So naturally they are trying a proven method for one and another, but it's making it worse, not better. They haven't launched just 2. They've launched more. What are the other first-party titles they've launched since the Series X launched? Halo is done, my friends, says We Are Lions. It was great back in the day. The new sandbox gameplay is really lame as the situation is the same as you capture a new location. Kill You says, I agree. I've been watching you forever. You're not a Sony shill like some of the Microsoft guys call you. I know you want great games regardless of console. Like, it makes my job incredibly easy when really awesome games launch and crush it. Look at what I was able to do with the early game of New World. The New World carried this channel for almost a month because the early game was so enjoyable and people were having such a good time. Look at what we were able to do with Elden Ring. Right? Good games launch and it's good for me. Like, I'll be honest with you. If I'm thinking selfishly, if I'm thinking like from a bias as a YouTuber, the last thing I want is for Starfield to come out and just be absolute crap. That's not good for me. I can only talk about that for about a week, and then we have to move on. Because then it just looks like I'm kicking somebody while they're down. Like, oh, I don't know. What's a game where we had that? Oh, yeah, Halo Infinite. We literally had to stop covering Halo Infinite because it was like, it's bad. It doesn't do me. It doesn't help me. It's not good for me to kick them while they're down. It's not good content. It's not entertaining. It doesn't make for a good show. And then the interest isn't there. Even now, we had a strong start. The interest isn't there. People aren't looking at this. Why? Because, number one, they watch their Halo guys that cover Halo. But number two, I just think people feel like we're beating a dead horse. Zach Smith with a 4-month milestone. 16 times the detail. I got news for you. If Halo Infinite had launched something in the last month that was crushing it, or this last week or whatever, and I was covering it right now, we would have way more viewers. We'd have way more viewers. It's in my interest. It serves me as a YouTuber for these games to crush it. It does. It serves my interest for those games to crush it. It's better. More people come to the platform. More people are searching for it. More people are excited to talk about it. Right now, people are just all worn out and fatigued by the franchise. They're like, it's just depressing. I'm always nervous to cover Halo. And that's why, because people get to the point where they're like, enough's enough, man. There's nothing good to say. It's just depressing, and then they don't watch. So the idea that, like, there are people, and see, this is what I think happens. I do think there are gamers out there that root for a game to fail. If you guys didn't see it, our reaction video to Ginger Prime's video has really turned a great corner. That thing's crushing it over there. I went and responded to everybody's comments. It's doing really, really well on a channel that we did nothing with for like a really, really long time. So thank you to everybody who supported that video. And one of the things he said in that video is there are people who root for a game to fail. And I think sometimes people come in here and they hear me being critical of a game, and that's what they think I'm doing. Why? Well, because they see it a lot. I mean, I'm trying to be fair to the people that come in here sometimes and think that. They think, well, he just wants Halo Infinite to fail. No, I covered the crap out of it. I played it every Friday with you guys. I was having a blast with Halo Infinite. No, I was bummed when it fell apart. I was bummed when the event design was terrible and when the battle pass seemingly got worse and worse. Ginger's rooting for WoW to fail? Doubt. Good morning, Lono. Good morning, everyone. Yo, it's Good Resolve. What's good, Jason F? How are you? Fingers crossed on Halo Infinite Forge. Yeah, I mean, when that Halo Infinite news broke that Halo Infinite Forge was getting delayed and then we got to see pieces of it, we were like, oh my gosh, why are you showing me this? Hilly says, I think you have nailed the issue. In corporate software world, users don't start blogging about staff, building the products, or start spilling tea all over Reddit. They log the issues and the bugs on their support site and they move on. They're not emotionally involved. The business-to-business is built on service-level agreements where the consumer is another business and can withhold funding in really dire situations. Maybe the Microsoft approach is not adaptive to the consumer gaming world, yet where delivering a minimum viable product and ongoing support mean different things. Breath of the Wild 2, you shut your frickin' mouth. You shut up. Did they show it? Do we have a release date? Dad gummit. It's called The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Oh, yo, you guys. May of next year. Okay. Everyone calm down. Everybody calm down! Calm down! I'm just kidding. I'm the one getting excited. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for yelling. I'm calm. I'm calmer than you are. That's a kid's game. Just on the Switch, I'm imagining so, yes. Everybody panic! Stay calm! Stay calm! Stay effing calm! Lono, calm down. We don't need your blood pressure spiking this early. I know. I'm so glad it's not called Breath of the Wild 2. I am as well. Now get rid of weapon durability. Sven! I will fight you! Excuse me. Nintendo's dropping a lot of trailers right now. A new Fire Emblem looks amazing. Yeah, I was wondering why viewership dipped, but that's probably why. You gonna get that for your kids? Yeah. Yeah, I'm also gonna get them a punching bag in the shape of a bear. And we're gonna call it Zubair. I'm kidding. I loved weapon durability. It forced you to be more creative. Yeah. We can't talk about that. Well, maybe we'll have to talk about that tomorrow. I told you guys that I'm like really hesitant to cover Nintendo stuff. They're more lenient when it's not live. Like they got really weird about their Nintendo Direct the one year. So we will be potentially covering that tomorrow. So please don't cannibalize this show talking about that. Let me pull out a discussion question. Let's get things back onto Halo Infinite, okay? Okay. Do you think, as we've been saying, that we think this problem is more complex than one person? Okay. Do you think Microsoft will ever let Halo disappear? Right? It's only a minute long. Oh, yeah, I don't know what we'll do with that. Maybe not. A lot of debate questions, though, that could make for a great stream, because I know you guys want to debate durability. Don't do it. Not today. Do you think they'll ever let Halo go away? What a weird question. No? You think it's a weird question? You think it's a weird question in light of what we learned today? Yo, Omar gifted a member, and Docs the Fox got it. Docs is here all the time. Thank you so much for being here, man. Keeping the membership train going. There's still membership at the top, even though they're all claimed. Who else wants to give some members? Let me give you guys a membership count. Let's see how close we are to 1,500. If we hit 1,500 just once in this month, my wife and I have to play General Jousting on a Friday night, and she does not want to. Oh no, it doesn't have... Dadgummit. It doesn't have freaking monetization turned on. That is not... I hate when it doesn't save. The short didn't have monetization turned on. I wondered why it didn't hit the shelf. It's like really short. We have 1,443. We are now 57 members away. We're basically 50 members away. Come on. Come on, chat. We can hit that. We can hit 1,500 easy. Insomniac Black with a $2 tip. So you want Microsoft to fire Halo? Yeah, that's it. That's it. No, I just want to know if you guys think they'll ever let it go. Because we literally learned today that when Bonnie Ross took over the Halo franchise, this is well before Halo Infinite, Microsoft thought the IP was in decline. It sounded to me like they were going to shelve it. If Bonnie Ross said she had to pitch for them to not shelve it, then yes, they will drop it if it's not working. Starting today, play and chat with friends from all your gaming communities with Discord voice on Xbox. Oh, is it getting more fully integrated, ganks? They already did that a while ago. Did they do a more full integration? Yo, Jay Stubbles just gifted 10, and I already see names I recognize. Peter Graffio, Mark Anthony's here all the time. Big O is here all the time. Epic Stream Man is here all the time. 809 Lion, that's half of them. Kane Smith, Jacob B, John Larachi, Justin Barth is here all the time. A9 Asinine is here all the time. That's 10. That's 10. We're now only like 40-something away. Thank you, Jay Stubbles, for taking a chunk out of that total. That's so generous. That is so generous. If I just called your name, some of those people might not even be here. Because, again, it gifts members to people according to loyalty. So there's like a list of people, and it's just going through the list. So those people might not even be here. They might be getting emails. But I know they're here all the time. Yeah, the PlayStation State of Play today is going to be lots of minor games. We also will not be covering that. That's what it sounds like, says Ganks. I just got a notey when I came into Discord about linking my Xbox account. They shouldn't drop it, says MJ Talks. I think the arena shooter is in decline, but the Halo IP is strong. Not an Xbox fans, by the way. I don't want them to drop it. I want Halo Infinite to return and be a champion. I do. I want Halo Infinite to get back up on the horse. Hey, Mick D09 gifted a membership, and Heavy Metal Mama got it. Now that is an OG name. Good to see you get a membership, Heavy Metal Mama. She's been around a long time. She's OG. Reach had just come out. Second biggest selling Halo game. It was not going to be dropped. But when was she in charge, Paul? When was she in charge would be the question. After Reach? Are you sure about that? I don't know how bad Halo TV could be, but it's impossible for it to be as bad as the nuclear waste that was the Resident Evil show. I thought people liked the Resident Evil show. She was in charge of the conception of 343. Yo, it's good, Marky Mark. New to the stream. Hey, thanks for being here. Listen, Marky Mark and a lot of other people, I've seen a ton of new names in chat today. Welcome on in. It's been great to have you. YouTube has been putting me on a ton of people's homepages, and it's great to meet you. I'm a Safe for Work broadcaster. Welcome to Reforge Gaming. You can call me Lono or Lucas. I don't care. Either one's fine. Some people cannot stop calling me Lono, and that's totally fine. I don't care if people use my real first name. The fact of the matter is, you should be subscribed with the bell button on. I do a talk show like this all throughout the week, Monday through Friday. We do 1 or 2 shows a day. So welcome on in. Because I'm safe for work and I'm not swearing like crazy, a lot of people throw me on in the background of their day. And the more often you're here, the more likely you'll get a gifted membership. And then you'll get access to way more content. Or you could just do a membership on your own. It's only $5. And you get a whole month of extra talk shows. Trying to shed the name Lono? No, I'm just saying it's okay to call me by my real name. Like, it used to bother me. It doesn't bother me anymore. Some of that's just work, just therapy work of not wanting to feel like two people. You know what I'm saying? I think this was Halo's window, and they missed it, says Creature. Battlefield will not fall as hard again, and Call of Duty will not fall as hard as they did again. This was their chance to be king, and now they will be the jester. I do think it's so unfortunate contextually that Halo Infinite wasn't amazing. Because if you think about it, what Creature just said, the runway lights couldn't have turned on better for them. Call of Duty Vanguard, ooh, just crushed, just fell down. And Battlefield didn't even fall down. It didn't even start. It didn't even get out of the gate. You know what I'm saying? Lono, that's good. Yeah, don't call me Lono. That's not even remotely close. Just linked account. It's full integration and account access of Discord on Xbox and Xbox mobile app. Have voice chat option through Discord now. Yeah, Sony's getting full integration early next year with their big software update. So Microsoft beat them to the punch on that, which is good for them because Discord's awesome. Forge beta is supposed to come next month. I believe that Battlefield won't fail again when we have a solid launch for it. I feel like every Battlefield in the last decade has launched as a mess. Yeah. Hardline was really not received well as all. Yo, Ric Flair, woo, has gifted 10 memberships. Kylock is here all the time. Marky Mark's brand new today. Interesting that they got one. SBC DeWitt got one. Spartan Hexus got one. MK Ultima. Those are all names I recognize. Carlos DePaz, Stu 3, Silver Surfer, OG, it's Baby Jesus, and Welfare Rockstar. Welfare Rockstar's here all the time. Christina gifted one, and it went to Brian Wilson. There it is. That's a lot of members, getting us even closer to 1,500 members. That's 1,465. We are now 35 members away from 1,500. Please help me hit 1,500. If we hit 2,000, 2,000 is the stretch goal. We're going to do a Star Wars Episode 1 watch party. I can't stream it on YouTube, obviously. That's illegal. But there's ways to do it. As long as you have a Disney Plus subscription, you can use a Chrome extension. We're going to do a Star Wars Episode 1 watch party with my wife because she loves it and I hate it. It'll be hilarious. That's a stretch goal for 2,000. Every month we hit 2,000, we'll do one of those. So we'll slowly work our way through all of the Star Wars movies. So it's a big goal, though. It's a big goal. We really want to hang out in the 2,000s as often as we can. We need 7 more likes for 400 likes. Thank you guys so much. Hilly's real name is Hilliard. No, my daughter lovingly calls him Hilberg. She's like, Hilly's full name is Hilberg. So that's what we call him. Yo, online MVP gifts 10 memberships. Grim Reap Show's here all the time. Irene's here all the time. Tiffany just ordered some coffee the other day. Yesterday, I think. The Learning Curve, Vettel alum, Fly Guy, Stormkilla is really OG. Sylvia Robles, Typical Trill Gaming, and G's. You guys all got gifted members. If you got a gifted membership, be sure to get into the Discord. Be sure to do it. Our members-only Discord is there for you. It is there for you to use. That way, you cannot miss out on any of the extra members-only content. Lots of stuff. We do an extra members-only talk show every day. If you don't want to miss that, you can become a member on your own for $5. Be sure to smash the like button. Yo, what's good, Ginger? Ginger, did you see that little reaction vid? It was in like the 400s or 500s, and now it's well over $1,000, man. People digged it. Apparently, somebody said I was too harsh. I didn't think I was too harsh. I thought it was a good video. I just thought, like all good videos, it had at least one weak point in it. I thought that was fair. I don't know. I thought it was fair. I think that's the beauty of reaction content, is you're going to press on a video and be like, good, not bad, strong, weak. Like, that's just going to happen, you know? I thought it was fun. I loved it. I think you brought your A game. Well, thank you. A lot of people are commenting and they're not happy. They think I'm a hater. They think I am a hater. So I don't know what's going on. You called out some points that I could have done better. That's the whole idea, dialogue. Right. Yeah, the one thing that I really thought, what was it? It was you're saying that it's not a bad game, I think. I was like, oh, there's so many other things he could have mentioned. Like, I honestly was like, there's a better argument to make as to why it's a good game and not a bad game, right? Just pin mine. Yeah, Creature could pin the message. I went and replied to everybody today because a couple people were saying, like, I was just being a hater. I was like, how am I being a hater? A hater on what? We've officially launched the Reforge reaction channel, and our first video we reacted to our boy Ginger Prime. He creates his own content. He does great stuff. He's got some big names lined up for his podcast coming up, and so make sure and check him out. And he's every week on the Reforge Roundtable with me. So, great video reaction, by the way. Yeah, it did well. It did well. Wait, or did Demon do one as well? Are you talking to him about his own, or are you I'm not sure. Did he do one? Doesn't look like he did one. Let's see where we are in the member count. We've been having a bit of a member run right now. We've been having a bit of a member run, and we have 1475. We are officially 25 members away from 1500. We're right back there. We're right there. Hope your tooth is better. Oh, yeah, I hope your tooth is better. Golly, mouth pain is not fun. It is not fun. So what's the current question? The current question, Mike Quad, is do you think that Microsoft will ever let Halo go away? Will they ever let Halo die? That's the question. Because... no, I will not be streaming the Sony State of Play. It's apparently going to be a pretty small State of Play about some smaller titles and some hardware. It's not the big showcase. It's not the big showcase. So do you think Halo Infinite is doing so poorly that eventually they'll let it go out to pasture? Are you planning on streaming the first Descendant beta? Yes, I plan on checking that game out pretty extensively. It was originally called Project Magnum. For those of you that were interested in Project Magnum, it's been renamed. And there's a beta on the horizon. No, they won't let Halo die. It might take it a different direction. Not while I draw breath, says Hilly. In the teaser by Rare just now, it says coming soon. Okay. You think Call of Duty will be their new flagship? I agree with all of these opinions, however, I would cordially like to express my own in a respectful manner. Indeed, the situation is incredibly thought-provoking. Thus I state to you, Bing chilling. Are you guys raiding me from another channel or something? Somebody else just got timed out for spamming that. I'm all for good banter and interaction, but I don't like someone trying to take over my chat. So, not really sure what the point of this is, but feel free to enlighten me. They want Starfield to be their new flagship. That was my prediction 5 months ago, that Starfield was the new flagship. But I don't know. I don't know, man. That Starfield delay got me a little worried. Talking about the GoldenEye 007 Xbox Game Pass announcement by Rare. Yeah. It's coming soon. Yes. Sorry, we're crossing conversational wires in the chat. We're having a little bit of a crossover. Man, look at our little updates channel too. I really hope you guys enjoy supporting all 4 channels. If you do support all 4 channels, thank you so much for doing that. We greatly appreciate it. We really, really do. We have a channel that uploads little 4-minute updates, so it's quick news. Not everything that happens in the gaming world gets covered here. It's not possible. We have a first look channel where you can see the intros to new games. We got a new one coming probably today. Metal Hellsinger. Very cool game. We've got one that I'll be able to show you early. There is no light or no more light. So we got some good first looks coming, and we got good reaction content coming for you as well. Yeah, there is no light. It launches on the 19th, but I can upload my footage on the 16th. So we got good things coming on all the channels for you. This is the main hub. This channel's the live hub where we're here every day. What's good, Donkey Sausage? Donkey, you got gifted a membership today, by the way. And we're officially 25 members away from 1,500. If we hit 1,500, my wife and I have to play Gentle Jousting on a Friday night, and she really doesn't want to play it. So I'm begging you guys to help me hit that milestone. I'm really looking forward to us hitting 2,000 more regularly. I think it'll happen. I think it'll happen on a monthly basis very soon, and then we can start having those Star Wars watch parties. Those will be so fun because she loves those movies and I can't stand them. Episodes 1 through 3 is what I'm referring to. All of the movies will be fun to watch, but you think Game Pass is the new flagship? Okay, I appreciate that pushback. What's good, Donkey Sausage? Man, the future is not what I expected. What's the member count? We are at 1,475. We are officially exactly 25 members away from 1,500. Yo, what's good, Anthony? Gets a totally different what? Name? Yeah, name, release date, and trailer. Yeah. I don't know if we'll cover that tomorrow or not, Fozzie. Lono, if you could add another person to the roundtable, who would it be? Josh Strife Hayes. Maybe, Josh Strife Hayes. Force Gaming. You know who I would love to have on every week, which this is a pipe dream? Asmongold. I think he would be such a freaking wild man. He would never do it. He's too busy, and we're like this to him. I think having a wild man on the show would be excellent because you've got like all the perspectives right now. Yo, Dad Not Good upgraded to tier 2. That gets us a little bit closer. That's another goal, by the way. That's another goal. 100 tier 2 members. We are now 16 away. 16 people could upgrade to tier 2, and that's going to launch a whole new batch of content that I'll start uploading to the channel just for tier 2 members and above. But yeah. I think the more readily sensible choice would be to have Josh Strife Hayes on. He's just extremely busy. So we have some people that we're potentially going to reach out to ask to come on as guests. I would love it if we were 4 wide again. 3 wide's great. 4 is perfect because anytime somebody misses out, you still have a round table, right? So, okay, I see what you're saying, Creature. Let me look at the time. Yeah, we can go 15 earlier than normal. I think Minecraft is the new flagship, the goal being create a game cheaply that sells and draws in subscribers at an astronomical rate and drives engagement. See, I think we're maybe using like flagship in very, very different ways. When I use flagship, I mean the game that's on the box. The game that is their icon. It's in the center of the frame for Game Pass. It's in the center of the frame for, the console when you buy it, right? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, so you got to be careful. Like, when we say, flagship, obviously Game Pass is the flagship of the brands now, not one game. But Game Pass is going to have some pretty strong centerpieces very, very soon. Now, Blizzard Activision is going to really change that because you're going to have, Call of Duty and other massive titles they can slap on the center of a Game Pass advertisement. So there's a lot to be said for that. If we get to this point next year and we're only in Season 4 might not even be out, co-op is still in a shambles and the campaign lacks replayability, who's the scapegoat now? See, I think it's tough because to compare it to another game that I would prefer not to, but it's the one that is in my mind and readily available. Look how long it took for Destiny to get back on track after they put certain people in charge. It took almost a year and a half before you really saw the results of leadership shakeups at Destiny, at Bungie. It took almost a year and a half to 2 years. Yo, Ratchet, 10 gifted members and another 5. Spike Deagle, MF Ghosty, Zero Relix, Barney Chills, Vale, Uchiha Suzuki, Baby Yodava, Dredgen Buck, Hype Rex, and Tony the Tiger, Shuckle, Willie Cabal, Holly Star, Boring Coma, and KC Element. And he gifts one more, Hogwart Legacy. Hogwart Legacy without the S. Also got a gifted member. That puts us really, really close. Oh, JT Phoenix is going to do it. I think that's 1,500. JT JT Phoenix gifts 10 more. ARXR, Coral Reefer's here all the time. Ghostface is here all the time. Zach Matson, Retro Never Dies, Mr. Valence, Spawn 3131, Trey Black, Dustin Freyaldoven, or something like that. And then Andrew Bozelli. That's all 10. Let me refresh the count. I think you guys did it. I think you did it. She's going to be so grumpy. She's going to be extra grumpy about this. You guys can keep it going, by the way. We have bigger goals than 1,500. We're at 1,501. We are at 1,501, so we're at that nice halfway point to 2,000. Yo, Dad Not Good says, let's keep it going. He says, let's keep it going. Let's do 10 more. Let's just keep pushing the number. Tyler Savioli, Primary, Emery 16, Dwayne Gassman, Los, Kyle, Infamous M16, Edgy Weeb, Mad Max, and Nick Robertson. All 10 gifted members gone that fast. They go according to loyalty, so some of those people might not even be here right now. Jeff Grubb, correct on Goldeneye Nintendo Switch, and it's also coming to Xbox Game Pass. Yeah, we saw that. YouTube just burped on you? I drank that coffee so forcefully, it splashed up on my glasses. Bonnie Ross, heavy is the head that wears the crown, right? Corey says, I think the game is going to be based on the formula that made Minecraft successful. It will be a game that is cheaply made and it'll drive subscribers or can be sold at a high rate. What game are you talking about? You mean the future flagship? Or are you talking about a specific game? Loyalty is the opiate of the oligarchy. What the frick? Did you just walk out of your first day of like a philosophy class or like a poli-sci class? And you're like, I'm really going to wow them with this one. Go watch the Quarry streams if you haven't seen them, says Zubair. Yeah, Zubair always promotes the Quarry. It's a 3-part playlist. I played through the Quarry with my wife. It's members only, and all the new members can watch it. So if you're a brand new member, be sure to check out all the members only content. Apparently, YouTube is going to be doing a better job of alerting members when members-only content is taking place, but we still really encourage you to get in the members-only Discord. Discord is software you can put on your phone or your desktop, and it's a great place to hang out with the community when I'm not live, meet people to play with, and then also get alerted anytime our content gets pushed out. Yo, 5 more from Mick D09. He says, let's keep the member number going, pushing us closer now to 1,600. Dr. Sammy D, the poli-sci major in class right now, in chat right now. Ravioli Master, Majinx, Van Steenberg, Matthew Griffin, and Breno Andrade. You guys all got gifted memberships. Welcome in. Thank you so much. I didn't realize I gifted those members from my secondary account. What's your secondary account, Phantom? Which one? Oh, JT Phoenix. Right. You switched. I remember when you switched. Did you veto the 5 for 5? Or is half a chat about to get timed out? We didn't veto 5 for 5. We just weren't really drawing attention to it. If you gift 5 members, you can time somebody out. That was fun for a while. I did start getting emails when members only stream starts. Really, Bernie? That's good. That's good. Yeah, they put that in my dashboard just the other day. And I was like, well, hopefully it's working. It did seem like more people were strolling into members-only streams even once we had been live for 30 or 40 minutes, which did not used to happen. So it did not used to be the case. I think Forge looks amazing. They need to land that ASAP and use the time to fix the campaign replay and build bandwidth for PvE. They also need to lay out a vision for the game, says Hilly. Hilly's saying that they need to use Forge to buy themselves time. I could see that. I could totally see that. Because Forge could let the grassroots of the community kind of pick the ball up and go. You know? Could kind of pick the ball up and go. Lono Zelda trailer? I know. We didn't cover the Nintendo Direct because Nintendo gets really weird about their events. Yeah, the Toy Story map in Halo Infinite, Forge. Forge will create crowdsourcing and let the game run on its own. I think Oh, hang on. Hilly says, I have no idea what they want Halo Infinite to look like in 3 years. It's broken up and doesn't make sense. See, yeah, I wonder with the new leadership team, Hilly, if we'll be covering Halo Infinite news in like a month and we're saying, you know, they've outlined a new vision for the next year. Like, did they need to basically come out and say, here's our vision for 2023? Here's the roadmap. Here's what we see happening. Like, post-winter update. Because Halo Infinite winter update is apparently the biggest update that they put into the game since launch. I just don't know if is that going to be enough to stay the tide of how discontent people are becoming, right? Is the axe on Atreus back, or is Kratos holding it? Kratos is holding it. It does look like they're trying to... Yeah, I don't know. That one's interesting. That's some interesting artwork. There's a cultural problem, not a leadership problem, at 343, says Dr. Sammy. Leadership may or may not be able to change that. You may have to dissolve 343 and dilute the culture by moving people into other studios. Kratos says, am I? What did I do? There's artwork in my Discord. The world's evolved. We didn't used to have instant communication in servers like these on mobile devices either. Remember when we didn't need a small dope hit every time we progressed the battle pass? You just played the game to play the game because it was fun and had fun game modes? Yeah, me neither. Yeah, well, you know, it's funny because I feel like as early as Modern Warfare 2, they started saying that no, we need to give people a reason to log in bigger than just come play the game, right? Like that to me is a sign of change at that point. I don't think that they all of a sudden started saying, oh, we have to give people a dopamine hit every 60 seconds. Yeah, OG Modern Warfare had it to a degree. Halo 3 had it to a degree. Exactly. Hey, we just hit the 2-hour mark and they're telling me to run ads. We don't run ads during the live stream here. Now, there will be ads every 30 minutes on the past broadcast, but we run members and super chats, which we are at 1,516 members. So now you're pushing us closer to 1,600 members every time you gift. Mike says, people need to chill with the Breath of the Wild 2 trailer news. There's only about 20 seconds of decent video. The first 40 seconds of it shows a stone mural. No big deal. There's definitely not enough to cover it. We need more info. We need more info. It's good for generating hype, but it's not topic, unfortunately. Well, we'll see. Why are we... The handle would be lower. You can literally see the handle is behind Kratos' hand. Actually, with that zoom-in barrier, you can literally see that Kratos' hand and arm is in front of the handle. The handle goes behind his hand. 30-something years of Zelda says different. All I need to know is there's a date, right? I'm old as blank, and I don't say crap like that. Things change. The past is never some pure version of reality, right? Yo, what's good, Sean? Apparently, we were just a couple of days off by the state of play. No, we were not a couple of days off. It's confusing, Sean. There is a giant difference between a state of play and the PlayStation Showcase. The thing happening this evening is a very small state of play about smaller titles coming out of Japanese developers, as well as hardware like the PSVR 2. The actual PlayStation Showcase has not been announced yet, and it will be significantly larger than whatever happens this evening. We're not even covering the thing happening this evening. There may be stuff from it that we kick to tomorrow, but I will not be covering it. I'm coaching my daughter's soccer team every Tuesday as practice, so... Asking for Halo Infinite to give me a reason to play is not entitled or whatever. Progress and evolve the game or players will leave they have in Halo. Hey Lono in chat, hope you're well. Sorry missed start busy working today. No worries, Scott. Good to see you. 20 minutes around 10 games. Yeah, it's going to be like a rapid fire. A lot of games. It's probably a lot of trailers and announcements. But, yeah. 15, 16, what a wonderful year that was. Yeah, I don't think asking for the Halo Battle Pass in Halo Infinite to be good and to motivate logging in and playing is like some weird entitlement thing. Like, you remember when we used to just play games because they were fun? Yeah, I also remember when we used to play games that if we played them the way we played today, they would last for 2 hours. I remember that as well. Like, I don't know, man. It's not as simple as people make it. You know, it's not as simple as people make it. You can't just look back and be like, well, there was a time where I just played all day, every day, and that's all that mattered to me. You know, I don't actually think that era of gaming was somehow better than the era that we're in now, because the era that we're in now is completely different. I just got disconnected from chat and reconnected. My internet didn't blip. Did you guys have anything weird happen with chat just now? I agree with moving from come play the game, but Forge was fun because of what it could do and what people could create. My friend would create the coolest maps and game variants. That was fun and kept me coming back. I didn't need a battle pass for that. If every game has a battle pass, then where does it go from there? You need a fun game at the core. I never said everyone was entitled. I know, but Fuzzy, you were definitely putting out a vibe that's commonly put out. There's a vibe of like, why do we need a dopamine hit? Why do we need all these things for people to, you know, continue playing or continue logging in? And I think there's a general thrust and feeling and vibe around that idea that like a battle pass should be giving me a reason to log in, you know, like I'm not saying that you're saying that, but there is definitely a vibe of like, I don't need that, right? This guy just said, yeah, get the female out of here. What are you actually talking about? Your presence in my chat is dangling by a thread. I can already sense you won't be here for long. I can play multiplayer games with no battle pass if they release with 20 maps and 15 are great, but let's be real, we get 8 maps. 3 are good, and we need a battle pass to even bother with it. Thank you for the gift, Van Steenberg says to McDO9. If the battle pass feels natural, it's good. Forcing me to do crap I don't want to makes it annoying. Exactly. Smells like a meme to me. Quiet Shy says, I'm a female. We have many females here. Watch yourself. Yeah. You ain't gonna live very long in here. I'm excited to see how it works out when one of our female mods sees you say that. I just want to make it clear I'm not glorifying the past. I'm not down with the vibe. I believe in progress, and I'm not trying to clutch pearls. It's just the battle pass can't save boring. Okay, no, but that's a totally fair point. A battle pass can't save boring. Oh, for sure. For sure. You're saying F Bunny Ross. So, I always hesitate to engage with people like you because I just think you're here for a reaction. But generally speaking, we have not taken that tone with this coverage because I think it's juvenile and very weak-minded to think that everything wrong with Halo Infinite is one person's fault. Right? So I don't think that if you think Halo Infinite's woes and problems are laid at her feet, I think you're a weak-minded person. I think you're too influenced by internet scapegoatism that doesn't land on the nuance of reality. It just doesn't. It just smacks of the same mindless cancel culture vibe. It's the same. It's a horse of a different color. It's the same thing though. It's just internet scapegoatism. Well, this one person's so evil and so bad, they're the cause of all of our woes and problems. Let's destroy them. This one person is the cause of all the problems at this game, so get rid of them. You know? It just smacks of mindless, weak-minded, cancel culture, you know, mob mentality. You know? Like, you generally don't think in those terms when you look at very nuanced situations. You studer a lot? I don't know what stutering is, but if you mean speak in front of a live audience while looking incredibly handsome, I'll take it. I'll take that compliment. Thank you. I do that on a pretty daily basis. Just exude just masculinity and sexiness while talking about video games. I think that's what studer means. Every part of the game is sliced up and stretched out with infinite, says Hilly. Are they getting ready to make a super pizza dough by putting it all back together and healing the game somehow? You look like the guy from Far Cry. You look like somebody I'm banning from my chat. So, thanks for stopping by and blessing us with internet meme stupidville. Agree to a certain point, says Wes. If you have a team of people and one person is charged, they should be held responsible regardless if others on the team fall short. So what would you do, though, Wes, if they're not an independent company, right? They're not an independent company. They're a company under Microsoft's ownership and to some degree Microsoft's direction. If you look at the history of the franchise, Microsoft was heavily involved. And they really, really wanted the game to continue. Although they wanted the game to continue with Bungie. I think one of the reasons that Reach did very well, but Microsoft thought the series was in decline. I think they thought the series was in decline because they lost Bungie. Bungie didn't want to work on it anymore, and they thought, if we hand this to another studio, that's going to be a waste. And Bonnie Ross pitches them her vision. She takes over 343. Microsoft seemingly was getting ready to put the thing out to pasture. Yes, Christine, I've seen that. Can I get a you Studer a lot? And Lono sad pick. They lost Bungie and Epic on Gears of War. Bang bang. Yeah, they lost Bungie and Epic on Gears. Sino says, I'm sure there's plenty of blame to go around. She is the one getting the paycheck to manage, so it has to fall on her because that's the deal. Right, like, here's the thing though. I think there's a difference between saying it's time for new leadership. She is certainly largely responsible for where things have landed. She's not solely responsible, but she's largely responsible. I think the mistake people make is they act like she's the only part of the equation. So imagine that you go to a company and things aren't going well, and you find out that the head of the company has been doing a poor job. Do you honestly think, in the grand scheme of company efficiency and bandwidth and redundancies and all the things that make a company run well, do you honestly think like, oh, if we remove the head, it'll fix everything? Like, that's typically not how it works. You have to go through and examine a lot more than just that. You would have to examine structure. You'd have to examine teams. You'd have to examine your project leads. You'd have to examine all of your leadership. She steps down and they replace her with 3 people. That could have been a significant problem. Too much workload on one person. That could be her fault. Maybe she is a workaholic and a micromanager. It could also be Microsoft's fault. Honestly, it's like removing Kathleen Kennedy. If you remove Kathleen Kennedy, yeah, does that suddenly remove the fact that you had 3 different directors for 3 different movies and it created a complete bumbled trilogy? Removing Kathleen Kennedy at that point wouldn't have fixed anything. It would have helped anything that came out afterwards, but it wouldn't have fixed things immediately. I suspect if the game was good, that Bonnie still wouldn't get any credit and would be on the chopping block the moment something went wrong. You know, because internet dumb. King Arthur says, in her case, it could be two different things, right? One thing is being in charge of a project, and another thing is that the project is something good or something the public likes or not. These people are window lickers, says Sinos. She is the one being paid to lead, and she should have been and solved these problems. Okay, let me ask you something, Sinos. Did she decide that half of 343 staff should be on 18-month contracts? Was that her decision or Microsoft's decision? Do you think she had any control over that? Do you think as the head of the franchise, that made her happy or frustrated? If you had to guess. So if Microsoft is making that corporate level of a decision, what other corporate level decisions do you think that they were making? She steps down, and in the wake of her stepping down, they replace her, and then they add 2 new people to the leadership team. A general manager and somebody to oversee business and operations. So who do you think made that decision in the wake of her exodus? Probably Microsoft. I'm assuming on that. The other thing is not an assumption. That the contract thing is 100% from Microsoft. It's her job to present a budget to the executives. Right. And that's where the 18-month contracts came from, Chris? That booty's all over Microsoft Studios. So why isn't he in there from time to time to make sure things are progressing? She might be awesome as a leader, yet if she's told to do something the public end up not liking, it's not her fault. She's not solely responsible, but removing a core part of the problem like that puts them in a place to turn it around. I don't disagree with that at all, Cujo. In fact, Pierre, the guy they're bringing in, Pierre is the one that turned the Master Chief Collection around. So many people are viewing this, at least this is how I view it, is they're bringing in a fixer. They're bringing in a fixer. They're bringing in someone to say, hey, I turned this around over here, and I'm going to turn this around as well. The SCP Secret Files is now available on Steam. That horror game launched today. We might have to do a first look of that. There were a lot of people talking about that. There were a lot of people talking about that one. The Luke Smith of 343. We've all worked jobs where we've been given awful tools to do our job. Yeah, I think it's fair to say you can't say she's solely responsible, but her stepping down may end up being good for the franchise. I'm just trying to be careful because what if her stepping down is genuinely because someone's sick and she was like, I thought I could stay till November, but things have changed. I have to leave now. Like, let's imagine worst case scenario. Someone in her family is terminally ill and the person's timeline just got cut short. We just had this happen in our family with somebody, with a relative. You think you've got X number of months or years, and suddenly they're like, you need to call hospice. That rug pull can be so sickening and disorienting. I don't want to be like, yeah, man, she's out. Throw confetti in the air. I've seen the internet celebrate destroying a person before. You know, I've seen, so-called pure and righteous people throw confetti in the air when someone is completely and utterly destroyed and they don't consider all of the personal ramifications of it. So if she's literally like, I have to step out. I thought I'd be able to make it to November, but this situation has escalated. Now, I will grant you that the timing makes one of my eyebrows go up. Like, it's a little bit like, a week ago, there was a barrage of bad news from 343 Industries surrounding Halo Infinite. And in the wake of that bad news, the internet calls for 343 to be removed from the project. And right after that happens, she steps down. Like, I get people being skeptical, but I'm not going to draw out some narrative that it isn't true or something. I just don't think that that's fruitful. An 11-month milestone from Def's side, getting close to a year. I start coaching my soccer team today. Hope it's a good experience. Dude, just have fun. It's so much fun. I have not watched more soccer after coaching soccer. I'm too busy. Maybe, says Mike, but you also said yesterday that you had seen this before and she got fired, but they let her say that to save face. Yeah, there's plenty of times where that happens. Valiant hits a year milestone and it's a tier 2. That badge will turn gold once this month ends to celebrate an entire year. Thank you, Valiant. We need to remember 343 has never shipped one complete Halo game for over 10 years. Listen, I am saying there's a reasonable amount of speculation that could be made that they told her, you gotta go. And we'll let you make some post about it to make it seem like this was a decision that you made. Obviously, Microsoft's language about it makes me think that that might have been what happened, because they said that she was leaving to spend more time with family. That's not what she said. It wasn't to spend more time with family like that's something a grandpa says. She said that she's attending to a family illness, a medical thing in her family. This is why I didn't want to go down the rabbit hole. It's an illness. Nobody can argue or judge it. Well, she didn't even say illness. She said attending to a family medical issue. That could literally be her sister's having a baby. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, a family medical issue is not automatically an illness. It could literally be minor surgery, a pregnancy. It could be something that's totally fine. The point is, none of that matters. Will that change the state of Halo? Will Halo Infinite change whether or not she left on her own? Was she fired? Is her mom terminally ill? Is her sister having a baby? Who the frick cares, honestly? That has no bearing on what's going to happen in the coming months for Halo Infinite. Wouldn't you take an indefinite leave of absence from your job and not outright quit your job if it was a medical issue? Just saying that once she played the medical card, you can't question it. As far as we know, she was planning to depart in November for whatever reason, and the family thing pushed that up. Right, and that could be, I was planning to leave in November because of the medical thing, and the timeline has shrunk, which is tragic and sad and awful. It could literally be, no, I was planning to leave in November. I'm done. I'm done with this project, and something came up in my family and I'm leaving now. Or it could be that they're letting her go in the wake of all the bad news that just hit. They want to have a press headline that leadership shakeup at 343. Yo, Pooger jumps in as a tier 2, a brand new member, and they say, I'll do the tier 2. I want to get all those extra benefits like the VIP room. I want to get maybe some extra content. We need 15 people now to upgrade to tier 2. Thank you so much for doing that, Pooger. Leadership can make a huge difference. I'm not saying she was the problem, but if she was, you'll find out pretty quickly. Listen, y'all know I defend corporations more than the average YouTubers because a lot of YouTubers love to bang on the anti-corporation drum because it's easy, it's mindless, it gets you easy hate clicks, okay? And it's not rooted in intellectual honesty and an analysis of like how corporate structures and profit works. It's just a way to drum up anger in the audience to get easy clicks. You guys know I tend to be a little bit more pro-corporation than the average YouTuber. But I also know what corporate BS looks like. And a week after you deliver a barrage of bad news and people call for 343 to be fired from the project, it doesn't surprise me at all that a corporate line of thinking would be, we need a leadership restructuring headline right now. That feels like corporate BS to me. So I don't care about her post. I don't care about the reason she made. When I look at 343 and Microsoft, I'm like, this feels very corporate. It feels corporate. They're like, listen, We just got taken to the cleaners by the gaming press. The gaming press and the gaming YouTubers, big YouTube channels, are basically calling us for 343 to be out. Corporate heads are going to say, we need a headline about leadership shakeup. Get her out of here. Not saying that's what happened. I'm saying that's what it smells like on the surface. It's like, y'all just kind of pushed her out. Totally agree. They could have done this very quietly if they wanted to. They could have handed off her responsibility and kept her in name. Right, like if it's like a serious, tragic, terminal situation, someone's terminally ill, I would think they would have done this quietly and we would have found out like next year that she had quietly stepped down to handle this issue. The fact that it's big and public tells me, no, you want the leadership shakeup headline, and you're giving her an out. The thing I don't like about the Bonnie leaving timing is it was just after Reddit and Twitter wanted to fire 343, fire this person and that person based on nothing but the job title for information. I feel like she's the scapegoat for the whole fumble. I feel the same way. I feel she's being scapegoated, 100%. It 100% feels like a scapegoat situation, which I think is unfortunate. It comes with the big bucks. If they need a scapegoat, then you're at the top of the list as the public figurehead. Is this enough? Or will the community still call for Halo leaving 343? Conspiracy hat. She made the change to the verbiage. Microsoft says one thing, she says another. Right, because like I don't think she changed the verbiage because I think or she knew what they were going to say and she tried to announce it first. Based on the slew of big-time people leaving over the last few years, I wouldn't be surprised if she was abandoning ship too and her timeline got pushed up. The new member logos, you like those, God Howard? They're a lot easier to see for me. Yeah, Eugene could be totally right. This could be her saying, I want to get the frick out of here because a ton of people have left already. People received the Master Chief Collection in Halo 4 poorly. I don't know because I'm not a huge Halo fan, but she oversaw those apparently. She didn't oversee those. She worked on them. She took over after... Halo 4 got... No. She did oversee Halo 4. I'm sorry. Halo 4 was received pretty poorly, yes. Interestingly, that was before they implemented the 1.5 policy also. No, the 1.5 policy hit in 2015, which encapsulates Halo Infinite in its totality. There was a report, the guy State and Replaced was lying about development progress. 343 leads had no idea the game was in such rough shape, and now they're trying to fix the foundation. I didn't see that. So there was a rumor that the guy that Joseph Staten replaced was lying about progress. So the leads had no idea the game was in such horrible shape. That kind of doesn't surprise me. At one level, that doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me at all. Some of you guys clicked on this video as a recommendation off of another video about this, and some of you guys saw me on your homepage. We have another great show for you. We have a great show for you lined up. It is about Forspoken. Surprisingly enough, Forspoken isn't coming out for a while. It got pushed into next year, and they are letting press get access to a preview, basically a vertical slice of the game to let them hear dialogue and see combat and everything else. And we're going to be giving you a breakdown of all of the Forspoken previews. That's where we are headed next. So don't go anywhere. I'm going to run upstairs very quickly. While I'm gone, do me a favor. I'm only going to be gone for like 60 seconds. Could we get 50 more likes on the video? We love to hit that 500 like goal every day. And then stick around for the next show. I can take you to it. It'll redirect you. And then I have a reaction video about another Forspoken article today that was scathing, and I'm looking forward to you guys seeing that as well. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. Oh. Okay. I was grabbing my lunch. I'm back. I was grabbing my lunch. Okay. We got to get prepped. Sony needs to come hard today. They're not going to. If you think the Sony State of Play is going to go hard today, you're going to be severely disappointed. It's going to be smaller titles from their Japanese developers and some hardware. It's not going to be significant. It's not the Sony showcase. They're going to confuse the frick out of people. There's going to be a ton of people tuning in this evening that think they're tuning into like some big Sony showcase. It's going to be like 30 minutes. It's going to be a super, super short State of Play. It's not the showcase. The showcase will, I think, be sometime this month. Okay. Tweet. They ain't gonna go hard at all. There is no Sony showcase. Well, there will be a Sony showcase, but it's not what today is. Today is like just like their state of plays. Sometimes their state of plays are pretty small. Sometimes they're big and sometimes they're small. People that approach the state of plays as if they're always going to be some big huge banger, like that's just not their goal. Okay. Okay. Goldeneye online multiplayer is limited to the Nintendo Switch version, so Xbox players won't get online play. Well, that's one of the dumbest sentences I've ever read. There is a link in chat. Sometimes redirect does not work well. Those of you who typically have a bad experience with redirect, just click the link in chat and go over to the new stream. There's no reason to not click the link in chat. Redirect brings everybody else, but sometimes it doesn't work for certain people. So this is your fair warning to click the link in chat instead of that. The big Sony showcase will likely be after the Tokyo Game Show, and the Tokyo Game Show is this week. Forspoken gameplay now has hands-on previews. There are Forspoken hands-on previews in the wild, breaking down all the latest Forspoken gameplay details for you. I'm going to end the previous stream that was about Bonnie Ross leaving 343 and Halo Infinite. It should bring those people over. If you want to go watch that VOD, check it out. If you like my streams, be sure to hit subscribe and the bell button. I try to put all of the information right here at the beginning of the stream so you don't have to go searching for it in the form of an update, and that way the longer stream where we discuss everything comes after the fact.